Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Do Envision Conference 2024 in partnership with Digital Dubai. My name is Jane Witherspoon. I'm the Euronews Bureau Chief for the Middle East, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today for what promises to be an engaging and enlightening conference. Under the theme, Gathering Nations Leaders for Progress with AI-driven digitalization, we welcome industry leaders and key decision makers to discuss how we can strategize and embrace AI technology for national and industry progress. We want to harness digital empowerment and sustainability for a better tomorrow. We will be navigating digital sovereignty issues before transitioning into discussions about the collaborative advantages of AI and 6G networks. To discuss all of this, we have assembled a fantastic lineup of prestigious experts, and we've lots in store for you, so please get comfortable. Before that, can you please put your hands together as a mark of appreciation for all of our sponsors? So a few housekeeping notes before we get going. Please, can you make sure that your phones are switched to silent? Toilets are outside, into the lobby and to the left. And we will be having some regular coffee breaks, so you will get a breather in between sessions. So without further ado, I'd like to invite you to give a very warm welcome to Fahad Al-Hassawi, CEO of Do, to give us his welcoming message on behalf of Do, your technology transformation partner in the UAE. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and valued partners. Welcome to Envision 2024, the second edition of our annual tech event platform, held under the patronage of Digital Dubai Authority. As I stand here today, I am filled with immense pride, reflecting on our remarkable journey since unveiling the event just a year ago. We created Envision as a platform for thought leaders across all sectors: government, industry, and society. This platform offers a unique opportunity to reflect on our collective progress and forecast future shifts. Our agenda today is clear: to drive innovation, foster meaningful connections, and ensure that we are aligned with the pulse of our industry to grow. This year, we embrace the theme, Gathering Leaders for Progress with AI-driven digitalization. The theme resonates deeply with the rapid evolution we are witnessing in technology, especially in the UAE. Today, we are gathering national leaders and industry captains, innovators, and key decision makers to pave the way toward a future enabled by artificial intelligence. At the core of this technological revolution is an integrated ecosystem. Cloud computing provides scalable infrastructure, data center ensure information sovereignty, AI and machine learning derive insights, IoT devices collect real-time data, 5G network enables seamless communication, and cybersecurity safeguards everything. These technologies do not exist in silos. They are deeply linked, each enhancing the capabilities of the others. Today, as we lead the way for a digitally connected future, Do is becoming more than just connectivity provider. We are moving beyond our core business to become an integrated digital enabler. We have been committed to nurturing and deploying ICT strategies that not only enhance our services, but also expand our portfolio. Our investment in these technologies positions us as the digital enabler of the UAE. Envision 2024 is designed to drive knowledge into action, transitioning beyond conventional discussions to shaping strategies, aligning with the UAE vision. Our exploration covers crucial areas, including digital sovereignty, the transformative potential of generative AI, and the role of cutting-edge technologies in fostering environmental sustainability. As we go into discussions around the reimagination of digitalization for an AI-first world, the dialogue today will analyze the balance between innovation and data privacy, address digital autonomy, and explore the reshaping of industries through AI. These conversations will equip our leaders with actionable insights to navigate and harness the potential of AI, ensuring that we remain at the forefront of the global digital landscape. While we look toward the future, we reflect on our long-standing heritage of creating platforms and partnerships that empower, connect, and transform. Envision 2024 is more than just gathering of mindsets. It catalyzes transformative change. We are not just envisioning technology, but we are delivering on its promise from strategy to scale. Thank you for your attention, and let us commit to not only envisioning the future shaped by technology, but also actively constructing it through the collaborative efforts of today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that welcoming address, Fahad. So, as we delve into the UAE's long-term visions for technological and societal advancements, we have the great pleasure of welcoming His Excellency Hamad Obeid Al Mansouri, Director General of Digital Dubai, to give us a brief overview of Digital Dubai's aims to create a globally competitive, productive, and AI-driven sustainable city. Welcome.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning and welcome to this momentous occasion where we are gathering to explore the future of the White City digital transformation. I would like to begin with the thanks to the DO team for giving an opportunity to Digital Dubai to be part of this event. This is dedicated to build our city and nation future. Digital transformation is a journey that has been at the heart of Dubai and the United Arab Emirates' growth over the past few decades. From humble beginning, Dubai has now become a global benchmark for innovation, technology, and economic growth. This transformation did not happen overnight. It has been the result of visionary leader and strategic planning, most importantly, the cooperation between the federal government and local government, and of course, the private sector, which play a key role in Dubai's ongoing success. I am proud to say that due to our combined effort, Dubai ranked 5th globally as per the United Nations e-government reports. In Dubai, we settle for nothing but the best services for our citizens with the highest level of security and the privacy. To continue achieving those goals, let's discuss some important points. As you know, Dubai is home to over 200 nationalities, and every culture has different wants and needs. Based on our strategic study, we have identified our most challenging task in building Dubai digital future: the public high expectation. We have one of the biggest challenge is the public high expectation of receiving personal services in Dubai. In the other word, delivering the perfect city as a service model. Fully connected, smart, proactive services using latest technology such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, powered by data. We strongly believe Dubai can only reach our future ambition by a solid partnership and collaboration with the private sector. My second point is related to security, our cyberspace. We are building a super connected, easy to live in digital city. So how we can ensure highest level of cyber security, keeping individual data secure. In the past, sharing personal data online was met with the hesitation and fear. However, it's nearly impossible to access digital services today without providing some level of personal information. Dubai's remarkable success in its digital transformation over the past 2 decades is largely credited to its ability to secure its cyberspace, thanks for Dubai Electronics Security Center and the United Arab Emirates Cyber Security Council. Today, in order to optimally secure our cyberspace, we must ensure 2 basic conditions. First, simplified cybersecurity tools. We need something very simple in cybersecurity that can be accessible to everyone. In this point, we can take UAE Pass as inspiration, which is a great government solution using facial recognition to enable secure and seamless transaction. Secondly, empowering strategy that included the entire community, making cybersecurity part of people's daily culture. The success of implementation in cybersecurity in any city is by enabling the nation to foster a culture of self-security. We need to raise awareness of scam, cyber attack, phishing attempt, and more. So we must focus not only in enabling security, but also improving overall user experience. My third question is related to the enabling great speed of digital transformation, which is ensuring the public privacy. So we should adopt or using local cloud or adopting public cloud or using hybrid approach. Today, we notice a big shift in the software industry. A player like Oracle, SAP, Microsoft are moving toward the cloud. I think we need to balance using the best technology and achieving highest level of privacy and security. Therefore, we think locally based cloud solution provider could be a great option here. I take this opportunity to thank Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon, and Moro for taking the lead in setting up data center in Dubai. For those who are still researching the market or planning to set up in our city, I invite you to become the backbone of connectivity for all people living in this multicultural global city, and making Dubai your home while providing the latest cloud solution for government and the private sector businesses. I want to talk about the importance of evolving role telco company will play in building our digital future. Traditionally seen as provider of connectivity, telco are now involved in the key enabler of the smart cities. Here I want to do as a commendable example. Telco should be prepared to take on the role of innovation driver, helping in creating smart cities, and through the widespread of 5G and 6G, making it possible to see driverless car in Dubai while building a global connected metaverse, operating a robust city-wide IoT systems and more. Of course, the question that will remain the matter of debate among telco companies is how to balance commercial interest with the public goods. Finally, for my last question, let's discuss tomorrow's challenges in terms of skills and talents. The private sector present here is building the world digital tomorrow. You need the youth of today and of the future to have necessary skills so you can advance on the same pace as technology. I welcome you all to discuss how private sector can work with the government and educational institute to ensure professional development opportunity are aligned with the businesses and the city future needs. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I want to extend my sincerest thanks to all our partners here today. Your contribution has been and will continue to be vital to our city's success. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for that. Next, we turn our head to powering progress for UAE visionaries, accelerating innovation with cloud and AI sovereignty in the digital world. And who better to explain more than DU's Chief ICT Officer, Jassim Alawadi. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome Jassim to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, it's an honor having you here today in Envision 2024. I think looking at Envision last year, comparing it with this year, and when we started thinking how to start presenting to our guests moving forward, I think transformation is key for success. We should keep transforming. That's why transformation is a key enabler for moving forward. Comparing what have happened last year to this year, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to driving the technology moving forward, we didn't discuss AI last year. AI was not part even of the theme. Looking at how technology evolution is happening and things are moving on, I think transformation is becoming a key pillar in any technology advancement requirement. That's why transformation is a key culture that we should embrace in this industry. Otherwise, we will be out of the race of innovation. moving forward, we need to set our mission as do. What is our mission? As a vital telco player that enables a critical infrastructure for this country, our mission is to help the public sector, the private sector, to transform toward a better digital era, toward the ambition that His Excellency had shared, how to transform the country and how to transform the innovation in this country. So our mission is to make the digital and tech transformation a success. We combine our digital advisory, technology, innovation, execution with our team of tech experts. In order to do this, we went through a lot of iterations in our journey. We evolved a lot, we transformed a lot. I am in this industry around 22 years, and when I started my career, it was not so interesting when it comes to technology. It was only physical cables, very traditional way of offering services. But today, with what telco providers are providing, innovation is becoming a key driver of our offerings in the market. So trust me, there is no more exciting time in my career personally than what I am doing here today. So looking at Do journey starting 2006, we started as a telco provider, providing mobile, providing fixed services for consumer enterprise. 2016 was a major achievement for us and a major change in our offering. We provided the TDRA FedNet cloud that was launched under the supervision of Bu'abaid at that time. For us, it was a new challenge. It was a new project. It was something new for a telco provider to provide cloud services. But we went through it, and today we are really honored to be operating this platform up to date. 2017 was another challenge for us. The country had set an ambition of 0 casualties when it comes to fire. So Hassan Tuk project was launched. It was a unique value proposition where we need to provide IoT services with alarm detection. We are really good when it comes to providing connectivity, but the challenge was how to transform, how to adapt our expertise, developing and co-creating IoT devices with our partners, which was a lovely journey. It was really challenging. That time, I was on the technology side. I was operating the network and operations, and it was not an easy task to provide that infrastructure. But today, with the experience we have, IoT, cloud services, it became a commodity within our organization. It becomes like provisioning a SIM card for your clients because the experience is being built throughout the years. 2018, Dubai Pulse was launched. We were part of the launching phase where we provided cloud services and data platform services for Dubai government. And it is operational up to date. And a lot of advancements are happening there. In 2023, there was another challenge. Maybe some of you who attended my presentation last year, we have set one of our strategy key goals is to explore how robotics, humanoids, automation, because it's the next revolution in the era of UAE, because one of the pillars that the government have set is to transform the industry 4.0 and to look exactly in how we can retransform the manufacturing sector. So we said as a telco provider, we can play in that space. We have the connectivity, we have the 5G infrastructure that can provide private 5G networks, provide all the required infrastructure assets for the providers. But what we were missing was how we can build the automation systems. We created the team. We retransformed again. And we went through a huge success by providing one of the most innovative projects that was launched a few months back with Edge. Edge is, as most of you know, is a missile factory in UAE. We automated their full assembly line, providing them robotics, providing them full assembly automation. So you can imagine the complexity that we went through. Today, we offer this as a product. Today, we are really keen to explore with others. And very soon, you will hear a lot of news in regards to how we started automating and transforming the manufacturing sector in UAE with other big players. 2024, this year, another huge milestone in our ambition toward how we can transform as a digital service provider. We have signed a major partnership with Oracle, providing an alloy infrastructure. Why this is really key moving forward. And taking you through my presentation slides, I think you will understand why now it's more important than before. I think with all the AI requirements that are coming, sovereignty is becoming key. And providing a hyperscaler cloud type of offering is becoming key for our clients. The previous traditional offerings that we had through our traditional way of providing infrastructure through VMware stack, I don't think it's scalable anymore. With the requirements that the clients are coming with, providing a hyperscaler type of flavor of sovereignty with scalability, wrapping it up with all the ecosystem of applications on top of it will become key and vital moving forward. So that's why, as we stepped forward in taking this decision and building the infrastructure that is required moving forward. Our ICT solutions, what do we offer? As we have said, we have retransformed. In 2016, the company took a major decision in how we can expand beyond the core, expanding beyond the traditional telco services, because we need to show relevancy in our offerings toward our clients. And I think, as we have explained before, today, our offerings are very concrete. We are a critical data center provider in the country. We are one of the major players in this industry, and we are keen in moving forward and building more data center because it provides the underlying infrastructure for all the innovation that will be required moving forward. Multi-cloud service provider. We believe in multi-cloud service provider. You cannot stick to one plan. The market requires different offering, different flavors. That's why building a sovereign cloud, providing your enterprise cloud offering, having agreements with hyperscalers and providing public cloud offerings as well, wrapping it up with professional services is extremely key. And on top of this, there are certain sectors that would like us to build for them a private cloud offering, such as banks. And maybe some of you have heard our recent announcement where we have won Commercial Bank of Dubai deal, providing them with their private cloud offering. So those are the kind of offerings we are doing in our multi-cloud. Cybersecurity. Well, I think this is one of the most important things that we should not keep at our back. I think moving forward, providing all the innovation and all the AI requirements, cybersecurity will be key for the evolution of the technology moving forward. At the end of the day, we want to evolve, but we don't want our lives, our infrastructure, the ecosystems that we build on threat. That's why we have a specialized team and we are investing a lot in our cybersecurity offerings and capability. And by DNA, managing a telco infrastructure, you can imagine how tough our cybersecurity rules and regulations are. So we think that we are one of our most strongest offerings are in our cybersecurity. IoT, as a telco provider, IoT comes by default as an infrastructure offering that we are having. Data and AI, it's an area of exploration that we are having. And recently we have built a lot of capabilities and a lot of clients starting trusting us. That's why managing the DTP and the data vault managed by TDRA is today done by us. So today we manage that application since last year. Blockchain and applications, This is an offering that we had since long time, and today a lot of our clients and Dubai government especially are enjoying this service. A new era in tech. As you can see, that the investments are enormous in the tech space. We were having a business trip last week in US, and the numbers that we heard when it comes to building infrastructures, building capabilities are insane. That's why, as you can see, today, worldwide spending in digital transformation is around $4 trillion. In 2025, there will be 50 million 5G connections across the globe. In Middle East itself, Gen AI market to reach to $249 million. But I think those numbers may surpass, because from the demand that we are seeing in the market, we see a lot of demand. UAE is spearheading the innovation when it comes to AI, and I think in UAE we are blessed to be in such a position where we have a lot of demand, because this will require from us in the sector to co-create and to provide a lot of innovation when it comes to AI. In 2024, the investment in edge computing will exceed 232 billion. Edge computing will be key moving forward. Few years back, when we were discussing edge computing concepts internally, we challenged it because we didn't see even the requirement and the demand moving forward. But I think with the demand that is coming now with AI and with the demand that is coming from different sectors, edge computing will be key for the success and the evolution of any digital transformation. The global co-location, this is becoming now one of the most hottest topics in each and every digital transformation agenda. Data centers, power, building the infrastructure to host all of this. It's a critical area where it requires a lot of focus, and that's why, as do, we are really involved heavily in building the data center capabilities. Enabling UAE vision. We are blessed being in UAE. The drive always comes from the leadership of this country that drive innovation, that drive success. That's why in UAE, we always forefronting all the new technologies. When everyone was scared about AI, UAE position was very clear. We will use it for the benefit of the humanity. We embraced AI as one of the early adopter nations worldwide. That's why, moving forward, I think the industry that we are in is very exciting. It will require a lot of work from our side, and it will require a lot of collaboration with the public sector as well, and with the regulators. Today, who is embracing the change and who is embracing the transformation is the leadership of this country. His Highness Sheikh Hamdan, as all of you know, himself is following up all the AI innovations that are happening in Dubai and in UAE. That's why we took one of his quotes where he have said, Dubai will continue to support all AI initiatives and encourage and accelerate the organized and the thoughtful adoption of its users, thus strengthening its position as a preferred global destination to live, work, innovate, design the future. If you look at the millennials today, they want security, they want restaurants, they want hotels, but they want technology. They want a place where they can flourish their capabilities when it comes to building their businesses. And building such tech platforms will be key and a vital role in taking us forward as a nation. AI, one of the hottest topics that are there on the table of each and every CEO, CIO, individual in this industry. If you ask us about AI is not only a technology. We don't see it as a technology. Today, we are discussing use cases. But moving forward, it will become something that comes by default. What do I mean by this? Few years back, let's take 12 to 13 years back. Having a smartphone, we were keen to have the device, but there was no ecosystem on the iPhone or the BlackBerry. It was a device, it was looking fancy, big, with a camera, but whoever bought it 15 years back or 16 years back was not imagining what he can do with it. But today, the applications that are on those devices make the difference. So moving forward, AI will be part of each and every business flow. AI will be there by default by the users. The new generations, when they take the phone, they expect the full ecosystem is there. The next generations, when they use any application, they will expect that this application is really fast, quick, can understand them before even asking. So that's why we are at the stages of the build-up. Today, it's good to discuss use cases, but I think what we need to discuss is building the right infrastructure for AI. Use cases will be the ecosystems of each and every individual. But from our perspective, as thought leaders in this industry, we need to set the right foundation for this AI to excel. Like your mobile infrastructure. Today, whatever iPhone is launched, people are enjoying the service as 5G, 4G, coverages everywhere. AI will be the same moving forward. It's about intersection of data in the AI industry. Collection of data, intersection of data, performing data in real time. That's what AI is about. It's about something that we expect to get a resolution on spot. So building this is not easy. Building this will require a lot of infrastructure build-up. So cloud and building a sovereign AI is key. There are limits of innovations. So today, what do we mean by this? Any public sector, any government sector, even large enterprises, there is a certain limit where you can share your data out of your comfort zone. So today we can start with basic AI use cases, but moving forward, the more complex it will be and the more data we need to fetch from our networks, our databases, sovereignty will be key, and building the right infrastructure will be key. That's why our offerings in Do will be wrapped up among those themes, because this is what will make relevancy for our clients. So the first layer is to have data center and digital infrastructure. We need to own our data centers. We need to own our facilities in order for us to ensure to our clients that no one else is operating those data centers on our behalf. So this is one of the key areas where we will invest and where we will build. Second, sovereign cloud. That's why we went and we have invested in Alloy, because we will provide GPU as a service for our clients. It will be the infrastructure where our clients can get their GPUs and run over them whatever services they need. Layer 3 will be the smart city and applications. I think we are well positioned as a telco player to provide sandboxing and to provide a lot of support to the ecosystem in order for them to build those applications on top of the infrastructure that we will build. Fourth, sustainability. So whatever we will build, at the end of the day, we have an environment that we need to care of. We have social responsibilities. We should not be overtaken by the technology, because technology is there to set the good for humanity. That's why whatever we design, whatever we build, sustainability is a key core element in all our discussion. So those are the 4 layers that I have discussed with you guys. And this, what we think, are the layers that will enable AI adoption and evolution in the country. We are all in this journey. This journey cannot be taken by a single entity or a single company. It requires a lot of collaboration between different entities, a lot of co-creation between different entities in order for us to build the right infrastructure, in order for us to provide the right offerings for our clients. I hope that we have conveyed the right messages for the audience today, as do we believe that we are uniquely positioned in this industry to provide the right offerings, the right infrastructure, the right capabilities for the clients, for the government, in order for us to move forward in the AI innovation. Let's put our hands together to take this to the next level as a nation. I think seeing all the press releases, seeing all the media, embracing AI technology by the highest level in the country put a lot of pressure on us as thought leaders to excel and to think in a different way. Thank you so much. I hope that you guys have an interesting time and enjoy your day in Envision, and see you inshallah next year. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Fantastic insight there. I hope you're all enjoying your morning so far. Our next keynote session will look at how we can maximize value from cloud investments in the UAE. We will be exploring shifting the perception of the cloud from just a tool for modernizing infrastructure to a powerful driver for reinventing business models, as well as the key factors that organizations need to consider to truly tap into the cloud's full potential. The session will inspire executives to see the cloud in a new light, while also providing practical advice to help them advance in their cloud journey. To lead this, I am delighted to welcome Achilles Dretas, Partner Strategy and Middle East, to the stage.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests and leaders, according to many estimates, in the next years we will see more rapid technological development than what we evidenced in the last 100 years combined. We are living at pivotal moments. Technology is not just disrupting businesses, but also reshaping nations and potentially geopolitical balance, the balance of power. AI is at the forefront of this revolution and has become a national priority for the UAE. And rightly so, it's the key theme of today's deliberations. For the next 20 minutes, I'd like to turn our attention to the backbone for AI, which is really cloud. Here is the catch. Organizations, public sector entities, private sector enterprises are investing in cloud efforts, but oftentimes are not seeing the real value of cloud. What we are seeing today, and I will show you data that supports this, is that cloud adoption in the UAE is becoming widespread, but simply migrating to the cloud is not enough. Based on the research that my organization has done, I would like to provide some key takeaways, some lessons learned for what your organizations very clearly and actionably can do to harness the true value of cloud. Just a couple of words about myself. I am a partner in Strategy and member of the Telecom, Technology and Digital Practice. My focus as a strategic advisor and my passion really is reinventing business models. And my perspective into cloud comes for it as of it being a powerful enabler rather than just infrastructure. So I'll be addressing two questions. First, what is the state of cloud in the UAE today, as a very brief introduction. And then the main topic of discussion will be how can leaders really maximize the value from their cloud initiatives. So, no. The first key message is that cloud in the UAE is a reality. We are past the inflection point, the initial adoption chasm. And it's not a question of if or when cloud will be adopted. Adoption is happening right now as we speak at scale. To give you a sense of the magnitude, based on our survey that included 200 organizations in the UAE, both public sector and private sector, less than a year ago, more than 50% of the respondents had already adopted cloud, either in their entirety of their business or in many parts of their business. And moving forward, the same respondents said that within the next couple of years, 90% of their operations will be on their cloud. The same message of rapid and widespread cloud adoption is supported also by the second statistic shown here, that 80% of the companies are increasing their cloud budgets. Adoption is a metric of demand, but is also a function of supply. And UAE is today blessed with having multiple hyperscalers, having established regions in the UAE. And the last castle, which was about having a sovereign cloud dedicated to the government, is now also being conquered. Jassim talked extensively about it. Du is at the forefront of this evolution that will really enable the country. Let's go to the main problem. Although adoption is widespread, as we saw, the majority of the organizations, 60 to 70%, when they're being asked whether they're capturing tangible and measurable outcomes out of their cloud initiatives, they tend to say no. The results so far are below expectations. And this has been a global trend. Many companies, historically, in the US and elsewhere, when they first moved to the cloud, they faced similar challenges. What's more interesting, however, is that there is around 30 to 40% of the organizations that are already seeing very tangible outcomes. They're really harnessing the value of the cloud. And they're realizing benefits such as improved decision-making, improved cyber posture, increased time to market, increased agility and innovation. We call these cloud-powered companies. And what I'd like to discuss next is a few tangible lessons from those companies. What is it that they have done differently that enable them to really harness the power of the cloud? In summary, there are 4 key takeaways. Number 1, these companies take a programmatic approach to cloud adoption that's founded on a holistic cloud strategy that addresses all aspects of cloud transformation, from the overarching business objectives as a starting point, those being cascaded down to technology choices, to operating model choices, and to tangible programs that can be executed with specific and measurable outcomes. The second point is that cloud adoption, it's not just CIO's job. Cloud adoption is a corporate-wide mandate. And successful cloud transformations involve the entire C-suite in the private sector and in the public sector in the transformation journey. Third point, putting the right controls in place is crucial because there are risks that we will be discussing, and doing so requires dedicated efforts and teams to spearhead the establishment, enforcement of standards. Final point, where cloud really turns into a strategic asset, not just a infrastructure and digital platforms, is when it's combined with data. For AI, if cloud is the car, then data is the fuel. The two combined are the ones that are giving competitive advantage. Let's look at those four takeaways a bit more closely. Strategy. What you see here in the chart is that cloud power companies don't take a linear approach to cloud adoption. The typical sort of journey is migrate, then modernize, then develop new cloud native applications. Cloud power companies establish a plan that is application-centric and looks at what is the fate and optimal route for every application separately. And more often than not, they're using a combination of migration approaches to achieve optimal value and outcome. You also see that cloud-powered companies do not overbank on modernization. Modernization is key for the right applications, but should not be exercised excessively for applications that don't require modernization because it's costly and slow in progress. This is just one facet of what a holistic strategy means. The broader point is anchor your objectives, anchor your vision, your long-term vision, and build your cloud strategy, including migration plans, including technology choices, including operating model accordingly. Second point, cloud-powered companies involve the entire C-suite. Some of these stakeholders, as you can see here in the chart, are important users of the cloud. Some others are important supporters of the cloud initiatives. Cloud brings about important changes from an operating model point of view. So CHRO really needs to be on board. Cloud is changing the way value is measured and the economics of the business or the public sector organization. So CFO needs to be on board. Procurement policies need to be adapted, and so on. Everybody in the organization needs to be involved, starting from the C-suite. Fourth point, cloud brings new risks, as every change does. There is the risk of cost sprawl, costs shooting up uncontrollably because we give more power to the business users without putting first in place the right controls. There are issues around data security. There are issues around data sovereignty, especially when you operate in a multi-cloud environment. So it's crucial to have the right controls in place, and for those controls to be propagated to the entire organization, it's very important to have, in the beginning of the journey, a cloud center of excellence that oversees and enforces application of the governance. Final point, and quite crucial one, cloud power companies establish enterprise-wide data strategies. 73% of the cloud power companies do so versus 42% in our sample of non-cloud power companies. As I said, cloud becomes really powerful when it's combined with data. And having an enterprise-wide data strategy and governance is the key differentiator that will allow you to make better decisions, allow you to personalize your services to your citizens and customers, and so on. So to wrap it up, the message is simple. Don't treat cloud as a technology migration. It's not. Treat it as a business-led transformation, and anchor your objectives and cascade those to technology choices and operating model choices for you to maximize the value of the cloud. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a wonderful event.
Thank you so much, Achilles. Fantastic presentation. Thank you. Okay, right now we have our first panel discussion of the day. We're just getting the scene set for you. And I am honored to be staying with you to moderate this one. As generative AI unleashes a new wave of disruption across industries, CEOs and tech leaders are reviewing their approach to AI and its role in digitalization. The promise of significant impact on digital innovation, customer experience, and operational efficiencies will drive progressive governments and digitally determined organizations to take an AI-first approach. Concerns about data, privacy, displacement of jobs, and the demand for regulatory oversight remain. Yet the need for competitive parity with early adopters will drive tech agendas. So without further ado, we are going to get our panel up onto the stage. Please, can you all put your hands together once again and invite Fahad Al-Hassawi, CEO of DO. Just checking I was getting them in the right order here. His Excellency Mata Al-Hamari, Chief Executive, Digital Dubai Government Establishment. Nick Redshaw, Senior Vice President, Technology Cloud, Middle East and Africa and UAE Country Leader for Oracle. And last but very much not least, Naeem Yazbek, General Manager of UAE Microsoft. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Please be seated. So, gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying the day so far. Thank you for being with us for our first panel discussion. Your Excellency, I would like to start with you and ask you the question. You know, while envisioning the ambitious road to digitalization for the UAE as Digital Dubai, how do you think AI is changing the approach of government entities to enhance their digital innovation, customer experience, and operational efficiencies?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Jane, for having me here today in this panel. And I would like also to extend my thanks to DO team for their hospitality and invitation, the opportunity for being here on this panel. When it comes for mandating AI, I think AI is mandating itself today in every agenda and every agenda of CEOs, and also whether it's a government or private sectors. And that is something which consider it as disruptive technology. So according to Gartner, 74% of CEOs see it as disruptive technology. And that's something which we are always keen about embracing this technology to benefit behind it and to embrace the value of having such great technology.
Thank you. Fahad, welcome back to the stage. We've been keeping you busy this morning. I wonder if you can begin by telling us, you know, what role DO is playing in advancing the UAE's ICT vision and leveraging AI in alignment with the country's strategic government initiatives.
Thank you, Jane, for the question. I'll answer this question maybe on behalf of first of the telecom sector. So I think the question that might be in the mind of many people, why telecom is the right partner for this? So the telecom sector has done an exceptional job in enabling the digital transformation vision of the UAE. Over the last many years, the sector have invested in building and operating state-of-the-art infrastructure in the UAE. We all witnessed yesterday the announcement where UAE has been ranked #1 globally in the telecom infrastructure index. This great achievement wouldn't have been possible, obviously, without the right vision from the leadership and the right support from the leadership and the effort that the sector have put in making this happen. Today, when we speak about AI, AI requires naturally a lot of investment, a lot of infrastructure, as mentioned by Jassim earlier and other presenters in the day. So the telecom sector will continue, and I have absolutely no doubt, will continue to make the right investment and create all the necessary enablers at the right time to make this transformation happen in the country.
Thank you so much. Nick, let's bring you in. We hear a lot about the potential of the UAE's AI economy. The projected economic impact is very impressive and the opportunities sound exciting, However, in your view, what are some of the core tenets of an AI-powered economy, that a country like the UAE here must focus on? What will it take to nurture each of these pillars?
Thank you, Jane, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Look, I think as we all heard, it's an exciting time for AI, and the potential to deliver world-changing impact is profound. And that's across all pillars of society. It's individuals, it's business, and it's government. And it can drive productivity, innovation, job creation, hopefully better lives for everyone. I think the challenge for all of us, and I think Jensen Huang said this really well at the World Government Summit, was how do we democratize AI for everyone? How do we make it available for everyone so we can really capitalize on that potential? So to answer your question, I think there's 3 key pillars that we need to focus on for success. I'll talk a little bit about each one of them quickly. First, accessibility and availability. Second is enablement, and third is innovation. And hopefully that ties to the themes we heard earlier as well. On the first one, accessibility and availability, I really believe collectively, to your point, Farhad, sorry, we need to build the right infrastructure, and we have to make that available to everyone, from the smallest to the largest. At the same time, we can't compromise data privacy or performance. It has to be scalable, it has to be elastic, it has to meet the needs of everyone, from startups to scale-ups. Uber and Zoom, huge users of AI today, they grew from tiny startups to billion-dollar enterprises. We've got to cater for that, and it's got to be elastic to deal with large businesses, trends up and down. And it's got to be sovereign, secure, and governable with a really strong regulatory environment. So I think the onus is on all of us as government, as industry, as technology companies to create that sustainable infrastructure. It's got to be accessible, resilient, secure, and affordable for everyone. So second one, enablement. And I think this is key. Once we've built an infrastructure, how do we ensure everyone can take advantage of that? An AI economy is not going to thrive without a skilled workforce. We need people who can develop, implement, manage AI technology, create innovation. So we've got to upskill the workforce to be AI literate, foster a new generation with knowledge, best practices. I think the great news is, and we've heard some of this already, the UAE is really well placed, heavily investing in training, education, prepare the talent pool to deliver on that promise of AI. Just quickly, one example that we're doing, Saeedati's initiative with the Dubai Business Women's Council to train 500 women entrepreneurs and individuals in AI to capitalize on it in their business. So the second one, collectively, we've got to build that real strong enablement environment. And the last one, quickly, fostering innovation. Ultimately, innovation's the engine that's going to drive the AI economy. We have to bring together technology, knowledge, ideas, create an environment where everyone from startups, business, government can explore ideas, create value, whether that's business or societal. Ultimately, that's how we're going to drive an AI economy. And lastly, I think the UAE is leading the way. 22 chief AI officers, new AI campuses in DIFC, the existing services UAE Pass, so really well placed. And in practice, though, we've got to do a lot more. And I'll just leave one last example. The Tony Blair Institute, who we work with, we're helping in Africa with shaping policy, technology, and support to solve some of the most critical public health problems. Those are the kind of things that I think we've got to work on together. And if we can do those three things, then we will really drive the AI economy here in the UAE.
Thank you, Nick. Naeem, I want to touch on something that Nick was just talking about in terms of upscaling and employment and training of people in their jobs. What do you think about this, the fear of losing jobs phenomenon? It's kind of deeply associated with AI. I mean, especially with ChatGPT coming to life. Is it actually true? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. First, and let me start by thanking the DO team, Fahad, Jassim, and everyone for inviting me today. Look, like any new technology that comes to the market, people will get worried about what is it that is going to bring. By design, we fear what we don't know.
Sure.
The reality, if we look historically, all the technology evolution that came through history, net, they always ended into more jobs, better economic development. All the way from even when we moved from horses to cars up until today. Reality is AI is going to challenge each of us in terms of how do we do our jobs. And this is where the topic of skilling becomes a critical topic. People that will skill themselves will be ready to ride this new wave and benefit from it. And people that are not going to skill themselves, they're going to be challenged for sure. There are some industries that are going to be challenged at the core of what they do. I mean, if you take education, for example, for hundreds of years, education runs in one way. Students, they go to the school, they have information, they consume it in order to be able to answer a specific problem or answer the teacher on a specific question. Suddenly now, we have someone who will answer those questions. We need to be able to ask the question in the right way. So those industries that are going to be disrupted, the stakeholders need to understand that skilling is going to be key. And I think whether you're in a government organization, you're in the private sector or public sector, skilling needs to be now a top priority for every organization that will need to lead in this new era of AI. And we're seeing it. Organizations that are leading with a skilling mindset, they're going to evolve as the winners. And if you're going to wait on the shore, most probably you're going to be left behind. So I am not worried about losing job net. I think this will bring tremendous amount of new jobs. And I think there is a unique opportunity for everyone here. I just worry for people who are not believing on this new era.
So it's fair to say that AI is the co-pilot. We're not going anywhere as humans just yet, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay, Your Excellency, how do you see Digital Dubai playing a role? I want to turn the conversation now to kind of regulation frameworks. So how do you see Digital Dubai playing a role in setting a regulatory framework and policies for the consumption of AI? There's a real big demand for it, isn't there?
Yes, for sure. When it comes, think about it worldwide, there's two mindsets. First one is protective, want to put more constraints, want to put restrictions, want to put a lot of boundaries. And the second mindset, which is actually more, see it as a collaborative tool. Whereas, for example, you would like to embrace the value behind it, you would like to see the opportunities there, and you would like also to get the advantage of having such technology part of your, let's say, businesses. And Dubai took very important milestones and initiatives on this domain. First one, in 2023, establishing Dubai Center for AI, which is actually enabling the ecosystem around it by having the right talents, by having the right infrastructures, and also accelerating the implementation of AI within the government and also semi-government departments. And on top of that, this year, we have witnessed Dubai Universal Blueprint for AI, which is focusing on accelerating the implementation of AI applications, plus having a sandbox for regulatory and also frameworks. In Digital Dubai, we are working on many use cases today, especially in the domain of enterprise resource planning system, because as you know that we are providing shared services for government department. We have more than 75 government entities today. Having such use cases, it will reflect on all these government entities. And we have a lot of use cases in procurement, sourcing, and we have a lot of use cases today in talent acquisitions and talent management, and also on top of that, services. Last year, we introduced Dubai AI, which is our city concierge, in order to help and to support and provide information for our public. And this is embedded with our government services. On top of that, when it comes from perspective of regulatory, in 2019, Digital Dubai published ethical AI guidelines to have the right principles for designing and building a safe application for AI. And on top of that, also, we introduced an AI framework to make sure that we help the government entities how they can evaluate each use cases and to build the right return on investment on this. We would like to make sure that we are getting the maximum value for any use case that we are building in the government. And that's very important for us, especially that it is meeting the desire and the interest of the public. On top of that, this year we are working on a very important also model for AI maturity model that will help businesses and government to do a self-assessment, so they can at least evaluate their strategies, they can evaluate their resources, infrastructure, enablement environment to at least address in case if there is any gap for these areas.
Thank you. Fahad, we've got about 30 seconds left on the clock, so I'm not putting you under pressure, but how can you support this AI integration and digital transformation for business and government agencies here in the UAE that His Excellency was talking about?
So what does DO bring to the table? So DO is a national company, obviously, so we're extremely committed to the vision of the country. We are a trusted partner. We have full understanding of the data protection, cybersecurity challenges that comes with the AI transformation. We have over time, as we showed you earlier in some presentation, we have transformed from being a simple connectivity provider to an integrated ICT provider. We have changed our portfolio of services, including all the enablers that we believe are required to take this AI transformation journey. We already an existing service provider to many of the customers in the UAE, and we understand their businesses, we understand their challenges. We have an execution track record, and we are being proactive. And an example of being proactive is the forum that we are in today. We are bringing the right stakeholders, a network of partners, and we're having the right discussion on how to make it happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. We're just out of time. We could have sat here for another hour. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We have a couple of more sessions coming up. Then there'll be a fireside with Oracle. Stay tuned for that. In that, we'll be learning and understanding more about digital sovereignty and how UAE public and private sector entities can now unlock the full potential of the cloud while ensuring sovereignty. So I am delighted to welcome back to the stage Nick Redshaw, Senior Vice President, Technology Cloud, Middle East and Africa, and the UAE Country Leader, Oracle, to give us a keynote address first, followed by that fireside chat. Please put your hands together and welcome him back to the stage.
Thank you, Jane. And Your Excellencies, friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. It's an honor to be here and for Oracle to participate in this year's Envision event. Let me thank the DO leadership for the opportunity to be here. Now, as I look around the hall, I see leaders from all across the UAE's public sector spectrum, and everyone's here to discover how to further accelerate their organization's digital journeys and to achieve the remarkable, as we just heard. The UAE is already a mature country when it comes to technology adoption, and data is clearly the lifeblood of modern governance, driving decisions that affect millions of lives. However, as governments and public sector organizations become increasingly dependent on cloud-based technologies for their operations, the concept of sovereign cloud capability is emerging as a critical pillar to ensure national security, data privacy, and digital sovereignty. Sovereign cloud capability refers to the ability of a nation to maintain control over its data by ensuring cloud services are hosted within its borders and are subject to local laws and regulations. This capability is essential for several reasons that are crucial to the integrity and the effectiveness of public sector operations, including national security, data privacy, and regulatory compliance. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in an era where data isn't just the king, it's the entire royal court. And AI is the master strategist orchestrating its every move. AI's capability and adoption are growing rapidly, and with those influxes comes a huge influx of investment and the associated return. The estimates are that this translates into nearly 40% annual growth through the rest of the decade, with an expectation that AI will contribute a net increase of nearly $16 trillion to global GDP between now and 2030, and that's only 6 years away. So clearly, no one can afford to be left behind. Governments want to leverage all the benefits of the cloud and innovate at scale, but there's a very genuine concern around sovereignty. Achieving sovereignty requires more than a one-size-fits-all solution. Depending on your organization and where it operates, you may have different needs in different locations. As a next-generation cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is designed to address the issues you care about most: deployment choice, interoperability, better price performance, and built-in security. We've doubled down on our strategy to give our customers more flexibility to access and deploy cloud capabilities wherever they need them, including in specific countries, specific data centers, in a dedicated or a sovereign model, and in multi-cloud environments. Now, this approach opens up the benefits of cloud solutions to many more companies and to help solve many more business problems. OCI dedicated region, Oracle Exadata Cloud at Customer, Oracle Compute Cloud at Customer, Oracle Alloy, Oracle VMware Cloud Solution, and Oracle Roving Edge Infrastructure are just a few of the options you have available to you. Now, if I may, I want to share with you an overview of our collaboration with our host of the day, DO. Ladies and gentlemen, DO is deploying Oracle Alloy to offer cloud and sovereign AI services to business, to government, and to public sector organizations across the UAE. The Oracle Alloy enables DO to become a cloud provider and to innovate faster with greater customization and greater controls. Now, with this capability, DO will offer the full range of enterprise cloud infrastructure, cloud applications, and AI solutions that meet the sovereign requirements of government entities in Dubai and the Northern Emirates. And DO's customers will have access to more than 100 Oracle Cloud Infrastructure services, including all the latest AI capabilities, Fusion applications, and all tailored to meet the specific needs of the UAE markets and industry verticals, whilst at the same time ensuring alignment with the UAE regulatory requirements. And DO's customers will be able to also build and run their own cloud applications and services with full integration. I'll give you a different example. Japan's Nomura Research Institute, NRI, is currently running 2 of our most critical financial applications, Bestway and T-Star, hosted on a high-performance, secure, and scalable cloud platform provided by Oracle, but operated by NRI. And DO's sovereign AI capabilities can help accelerate the adoption of AI in the UAE public sector, whilst Oracle's distributed cloud, OCI generative AI service, and OCI AI infrastructure will enable DO to quickly deploy AI and other cloud-native capabilities for the entire customer base. And not just that, DO will run these services from its own data center here in the UAE, enabling customers to migrate their systems, applications more effectively to the cloud, but at the same time providing greater control over operations, location, and security to help manage strategic public sector data and support the digital sovereignty journey. I think this is a remarkable initiative, and hopefully one that provides a clear answer to the sovereignty question, but also giving access to the very best of cloud-powered AI solutions. But listen, don't just take my word for it. Let's hear more about this sovereign capability from none other than DO's Chief ICT Officer, Jazim Alawadi.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Jazim.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome back.
All well? How's things? Fine?
Very good.
Oh.
So first of all, thank you for the tremendous partnership. I'm very excited that you are joining me here, and I think it's important for the audience to hear from you a little bit about the importance of the Oracle Alloy and the capabilities you're deploying. So, maybe let me just ask you, how exactly are you able to offer that without compromising digital sovereignty, which is critical?
See, I think, as I have explained in my presentation, providing sovereign cloud is becoming extremely vital for the evolution of digital adoption in the country. That's why when we assess the market and when we assess different options that we had in hand, I think the offering that Oracle brought to us in providing Alloy was a key differentiator for us moving forward. It will enable us to become and claim to become a national hyperscaler cloud provider with having Alloy, because for a lot of people, I think, which is key, Alloy is a replica of Oracle Cloud, which a lot don't know. So I think you need to promote this more. Alloy is a replica of Oracle Public Cloud. It has the same features, the same billing engines, the same updates between us and the Oracle Public Cloud. That's why we took this decision moving forward, and thank you for the partnership as well.
Yeah, thank you, and I think you summed it up very well. I'll learn the marketing messages. So listen, we're all hearing, we've all talked a lot about the power of AI today, and huge discussion. But can you expand a little on how you see that capability and the capabilities you're delivering as a catalyst to the UAE's AI economy?
See, having a sovereign AI infrastructure will be vital moving forward. The more AI applications will become advanced, the more demand will be in having them in a secured environment. Having the infrastructure on Alloy, providing the GPUs on top of it, is key market differentiator for us. Subsidizing the GPU as a service for the clients, because as you know today the price per GPU is extremely high, and a lot of clients maybe they don't require having the full compute power. That's why subsidizing it and providing it based on their needs will be key for their evolution. And this will be the key market differentiator offering that we will have along with Oracle in the market moving forward.
Yeah, that's great. And as you say, we continue to offer the full updated range of services on that as well. And look, lastly, How does the sovereign capability that you're deploying help Do Itself create a new business vertical and become a sovereign hyperscale cloud provider yourselves?
See, having the full cloud capability will enable us to build a wrapper of services surrounding it, especially when it will come to professional services offerings. Well, I think this is something that was really missing in our value proposition. Previously, we didn't have any relevancy when it comes to the discussions we had with our clients because we were the end in the value chain. And we were foreseen as a mediator in the middle that facilitates bridging the gap between system integrators and cloud providers. Now, we are in the highest pinnacle of the value chain where we are the cloud provider. We choose the SIs that will be part of the offering and we control the full ecosystem. So it's the other way around. So today we can position ourselves having offerings like what you offer in your public cloud, like what other hyperscalers offer in their public cloud. We can say that those having their unique offerings, and today the team is working day and night to have a lot of unique offerings that will be launched in the market very soon once the regions will be live.
Yep. So, Jasim, thank you for the tremendous insights. We're very excited about the partnership and hopefully the value we can bring both to yourselves at Do and to the wider UAE economy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I truly believe that the importance of the sovereign cloud capability for public sector organizations and governments just can't be overstated, and you heard a lot of that from Jasim just now. It's a fundamental component of national security, of data privacy, of digital sovereignty and regulatory compliance. And as we continue to navigate the complexities of the digital age, investing in sovereign cloud infrastructure is not just a matter of strategic importance. I truly believe it's a necessity for the future stability, security, and prosperity of our nations. As the only hyperscale cloud provider capable of delivering AI and a full suite of 100+ cloud services across dedicated, public, and the hybrid environment anywhere in the world, and with strategic partnerships such as the Do Oracle Alloy, adding the sovereign capability, I think we can jointly offer unique support for your sovereign cloud journeys. So with that, let me finish here. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to an exciting future together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nick and Jasim. Now, the dominance of tech in our lives at home and work means we're always looking at opportunities and benefits and how we can better harness the undoubted power of AI. In our next keynote by Huawei, we will be looking at the reshaping the industry with AI, how clouds, AI, large models will empower everyone from industry with an intelligent assistant, enhancing productivity and efficiency as our co-pilot, of course, which is something we discussed in the panel I moderated a little bit earlier. So please, can you put your hands together, give a big warm welcome to Dr. Shenghao Zhu, Vice President of AI, Huawei Cloud Middle East and Central Asia from Huawei. Oh, sneaking up behind me, welcome.
Good morning, Assalamu alaikum. It's an honor to be here today to have this opportunity to share with you about Huawei's insights and our latest progress for reshaping industries with AI. We know that Huawei is a global leading provider for ICT solutions. We have been a strategic partner with Du for a very long and fruitful cooperation. And now we have expanded our business towards cloud and AI. So let's begin. So we know that AI has been evolving very dramatically during the past years. You know, the first time that AI was brought up was in the famous Dartmouth workshop in 1956. And since then, AI has been evolving very quickly. I still remember more than 10 years ago, I'm doing my PhD. At that time, there is no large model. It's just traditional machine learning with small models. And then we have deep learning. And now in 2022, we witnessed large models and generative AI models, for example, GPT. So these large models achieved human-level performance or even surpassed human-level performance in many areas for content synthesis, for content generation, and many scenarios. So AI has been applied in many different scenarios powered by foundation models. Now, we have seen that AI has been utilized in many consumer applications. For example, ChatGPT and many personal assistants on smartphones, right? And now AI is entering different industries and already entering the core production systems. We can already see that AI has been used to improve the productivity, improve the efficiency, and also for monetization for example, office or automation for different industries, from carrier to finance to smart government and so on. So once this momentum builds, AI is going to reshape many different industries. That is the power of AI and foundation models. And here, we would like to also introduce Huawei's own large models, Pangu large models, developed by Huawei. So it has main goal is to bridge the gap for AI and industry needs. And our strategy here is AI for industries, because we want to apply AI in different industry scenarios and also solve the industry's needs. So Huawei has already accumulated more than 30 years of experience for enterprise business. So now we are applying cloud and AI technology here for different industries. We provide a 3-layered architecture for large models. The first layer is L0, the foundation models. It has 5 different types of large models. The first one is NLP for language processing. The second one is computer vision that can process images and videos. And also we can combine language and computer vision into one model. Computer vision is a multi-modal models. And also we can use large models for prediction. And also we combine large models with scientific computing, for example, for biology, chemistry, physics, and so on. We can use it for weather forecasting. So that is a very wide, broad of AI for different industries. And the second layer is industry-specific models. So on top of the foundation model, we can add in the industry data and then fine-tune the model so that our model can understand the industry know-how of different industries, for example, for smart government, for finance, for carriers, and so on. So this is the industry model that we can directly use in different industries. And furthermore, we can apply the scenario-based models by fine-tuning it using different scenario-based data so that it achieves the best performance. We wanted to explain a little bit more about how we develop these large models. So Huawei provide a full-stack AI technology to build these large models. So on the hardware layer, Huawei has developed our own AI chipset called Ascend chipset, and also we are open to use other GPUs. So the hardware layer is open and flexible. And Huawei also provide our AI platform, it's called Model Arts, so that we can train models and it can manage a huge cluster with tens of thousands of AI chipset. So on top of the AI platform, we build our large models and then develop our industry applications. So we provide this full-stack AI technology. And also, our models can be deployed on public cloud and also on hybrid cloud or even edge servers. So it's very flexible. We have already been successfully deployed our AI applications on different scenarios for different customers. So this is a very open and also flexible solution for AI industry applications. So I also wanted to share some lights on how we develop these models. We know that to build a foundation model, we need to train it on a huge data set. So we already have collected one of the largest data sets for text, for media, for images, videos. So trained on this huge data set, we develop capabilities for the foundation models. And next, we add in different skills for the foundation model so that it can write code, can answer questions, can reply emails, and so on. So all these skills are decoupled. So we can select what kind of skill we want to use for the scenario and then combine it in our application. And finally, we add in the industry knowledge. So we work closely with our partners, with our customers, and then we add in the customer's own data. Then we can train the customer's own industry models, and then finally deploy it on the industry's on the customer's own data centers. So this is how we develop the large models, and then we can work together to build our customers' own large models. Okay, I also wanted to share our capabilities on the data layer, because we know AI models learns from the data. So the data is very important. So while we provide the whole stack for data processing, we have our databases, we have our data lake solutions, we have our AI for big data solutions. So we have two approaches. One approach is to use data for AI. That means we collect all the data from different channels and store it in our data lake using a MapReduce data processing pipeline to process the data, clean the data. And then we apply AI on top of the data so that it learns from the data, and then it can generate the analysis result for higher applications. That's the data for AI approach. The second one is AI for data. So that means we can use AI to enhance the traditional data processing procedure. For example, now we can use speech to talk to the database. I can ask a question, what's the most usage for this month, or the most calls for this user this year, right? So I can translate this into SQL code, and then execute it, and then show the result in a graph. So we can use AI to enhance the data capabilities. This is the AI for data approach. So this is data and AI convergence. We have been combining our capabilities from the data to the AI to achieve the best performance. So next, I would like to share some of our AI industry applications. This one is very interesting. We can use large models for weather forecasting. We know that traditionally weather forecasting is a very challenging task. It requires a huge high-performance cluster with, for example, 3,000 servers. And now, Huawei's Pangu weather model is the first one for the AI large model to surpass the performance for traditional methods. We also published our research result in Nature, which is one of the top journals in the world. So the advantage of Pangu weather model is that it achieves the highest accuracy for the weather forecasting. For example, the rain, the wind speed, the temperature, humidity, and so on. And the second is about almost 10,000 times faster. We can do the forecast for example, 10 days weather on a single GPU for about 10 seconds. This is much, much faster than traditional methods, so that it is able to do very fast weather forecasting for extreme weather, which is very important. Okay, so the next example is that we can use it for smart government solutions. We know that government is a very complex project. So Huawei's e-government model combines natural language, videos, different sensor data, and then using one model to perceive and understand the whole city. For example, what's the traffic? Is there any accident? Is there any tickets from the logs or from the video calls? And then it is able to generate a ticket and dispatch it automatically to the corresponding department. And then this department can follow up this ticket and then close it in time. So we have already working with many different governments, both in China and abroad, to solve this very complex problem, because we need to combine the data from usually more than 40 different departments, and then we need to go through the data and then give the accurate suggestions to handling this smart city and governance issues. So this is a very successful industry application. And the next is also a very important application for mining. You know, the mining is sometimes dangerous. Imagine you are 300 meters underground. The working environment is very tedious or even dangerous. So how can we use AI to improve the safety and the efficiency for mining industries? So first, we collect all the videos and send the video stream using 5G to our data center on the surface, so that we can stitch all these videos together for more than 40 meters long, huge video. And then we use AI large models to understand all this video content. And for example, we can recognize correctly about the obstacles on the conveyor belt, and also monitoring the behavior of the workers, whether they are following the safety guidelines. And then the workers now, they can safely and comfortably sit in the office instead of having to go underground to do all this heavy working. So we have already built this monitoring system in many mine factories. Okay, so the next one is also very hot topic. So we know Huawei has already provided this automotive solution to enable these cars or EVs, right? So how can we develop these autonomous driving models? So here we use Pangu large models to help build the corner cases to improve the training accuracy for autonomous driving. Because you know, when we building the autonomous driving models, we need to collect huge data on the road, but there are endless corner cases because there are different weather conditions, different road conditions, and they are very hard to collect. So we use Pangu models to generate or synthesize this kind of corner cases. For example, we can generate different weather conditions, different lightning conditions, just based on a few real images and videos. And then we can also adjust the, for example, perspective for different vehicle types, for cars, SUVs, trucks, and so on. And then we can generate huge data set to train and improve our autonomous driving models. So we have already successfully applied this autonomous driving in different types of cars. So this is how we can use Pangu AI large models for vehicle industries. Also, this is also another interesting industry. We use Pangu for drug molecular discovery. We know that the drug discovery process is a very long and expensive process. It takes more than 10 years, like billions of dollars. So how can we use AI to speed up this process? We found out that a lot of time was spent for the different drug discovery process. So we use AI models to first train on millions or hundreds of millions of molecules so that our model is able to understand different protein architecture. And then secondly, we use this model to generate different new types of drugs and then analyze the features of this new drug to see whether it has this potential to become a drug. Actually, Huawei has been working with Jiao Tong University in China, and the team has already discovered a potential drug for broadband anti-microbial drug. So that is already in the clinical trial process. So this is a very high-value industry application that are empowered by our Pangu AI models. And finally, I would like to show our integrated solution for smart city. Every city, including Dubai, we need to have this IOC to understand the city and then for better planning and the decision. So we provide this whole digital smart city solution, combining digital twin solution for building the whole digital twin for the city, and then we are adding video analysis capabilities to understand all the traffic, all the video cameras, and also we have our digital ambassador that can engage with our users and leaders. For example, we can directly ask this digital assistant what is the condition in the city, what is the prediction, what is the plan for improvement, and so on. And everything is integrated into this smart city solution. So with this capability, we are able to monitor the whole city, have a better understanding, and then provide our suggestions for city governance. Okay. So Huawei is committed to promote tech for good and AI for industries. Let's work together to build the cloud foundation for an intelligent world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, lots of food for thought there this morning. And on that note, I bet you can't wait to probably go out and have a coffee, a little brain reset. So we will take a short refreshment break, an opportunity for you also to network. It will be 15 minutes, and we do appreciate if you can make sure you're back in on time, as we've got lots more for you. Thank you so much. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're feeling a little bit more refreshed and ready to get the festivities underway again. I've got a few people just making their way in from outside. Please do come in and take your seats so we can get our next couple of sessions underway. I can hear the bell going. Okay, so the journey to AI has only just begun. And it promises to be a long and interesting one. While some aspects are known, there's plenty yet to still discover. And with this in mind, how do you prepare and adapt the industry to this undefined future? Also, how can we use generative AI without compromising ethics and sustainability? To help explain how we can overcome potential ethical and environmental challenges and the role the UAE is playing in enhancing sustainability in an AI-driven economy. We've got a fantastic panel coming up. And to lead the session, I am delighted to welcome to the stage, fresh off the airwaves, the one and only Richard Dean, broadcaster extraordinaire. And he's going to be our moderator for the next couple of sessions. Please put your hands together.
Jane, thank you very much indeed. Yes, using generative AI is the topic. Happy days, we all love that. But then Jane has to spoil the fun by saying, without compromising ethics and sustainability. Shame, but there we go. That's the world we live in. Listen, we've got a great panel today to talk about this. Just 15 minutes, lots to get through. So let me invite them on stage now. Please welcome Director of E-Government Operations at the TDRA, Saeed Belhoul, and also the Executive Director, Future Design and Projects of the Dubai Future Foundation, Saeed Al-Falasi. Ahlan wa sahlan, gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. Come and have a seat, please. Thank you very much indeed. Good to have humans here talking about artificial intelligence. So we're going to talk about ethics, we're going to talk about sustainability and the use cases of generative AI. But let me begin, Saeed Belhoul, if I can, with you. At the TDRA, obviously with a regulatory role, just briefly for a minute or so, set the scene. What are you within your organization using generative AI for? And how has your organization embraced this technology with those two caveats?
First of all, thank you for hosting me, and glad to be here and do Envision. I think when it comes to generative AI, we are still in the hype phase. We are moving to the goal very quickly, but I think most of the enterprises and the government sector as well, they are in the experimenting phase. We have good examples. We have launched recently U.Ask, which is a platform based on our UAE national platform, U.AE. You ask it, and it will answer you, and the answers will be based on this information and database available. So we will ensure that you will not get bias or false information. We have few examples, but I think the goals is yet to be realized. There's more to be done.
Well, we'll dig more into those issues in a few moments' time. But Saeed Al-Falasi, if I can turn to you at the Dubai Future Foundation. The clue is in the name. Clearly, you're embracing this. But just give us a snapshot of how you're approaching generative AI as an organization.
Sure, absolutely. I think one of the things that we've noticed from day one is that we needed a place or a space like the Dubai Center for Artificial Intelligence, which we launched last year with His Highness Sheikh Hamdan. Since then, I think we've been firing on all cylinders in terms of launching the center itself, allowing government entities to understand how they can potentially utilize it within their own services, letting them know what is the best use cases. I think a lot of the conversations that happen today is not really about the technology as much as about finding the right use cases for it. So we've been able to work with a lot of startups, over 40 government entities as well. But there are all the other things as well, which is happening to everyone, which is the announcement around the 1 million prompters in Dubai within 3 years. As a matter of fact, we just wrapped up shooting videos for it, and then you have for the teachers. So a lot of things are happening from all over the place, just to make sure that we are understanding how to talk to AI.
Well, let's dig into some of these issues now. As a regulator at Saeed Belhoul, or an authority with a regulatory remit, how are you approaching some of the ethical considerations?
I remember I listened one time to Malcolm Gladwell when he said, in the past you have less information. The problem, you have less information, and that you have to dig for the information through research or interviewing. Now you are in the internet age, you have lots of information. And it's really foolish to say that all this information will lead you to the fact or the truth, because there's misinformation, which is information which is not accurate for some reason, and there's disinformation, information which has been manipulated for evil gains. So now you have another dimension. You have the AI, which is somebody controlling what you perceive about reality and what is right and what is wrong. So that's a challenge. And I think now we have many countries, many nations came with initiatives, standards for AI. They are not enforced yet. Maybe some of them are in the enforcement stage, like there is some in China, there's a standard, and the European Union also. And AI really touch every aspect: education, medical, transportation, academic. You can say all the areas it will touch it. And I think to achieve something, the world has to come together. And this is really, I think, I feel difficult to achieve. Every nation has its own interest, and it will be, I think it's difficult to achieve. In TDRA, we work closely with the AI office, and they have issued a standard for AI. And also they assigned, on the federal level, an AI executive officer to work with each government entity in terms of enabling them in AI adoption and adopting the ethics.
Well, one ethical question in particular may I ask you about, and that is the replication of humans. Replicating not just the image, but also the voice, video, the whole 9 yards. How are you approaching that from an ethical perspective?
I think one way we emphasize on privacy. One of the ethics requirements is maintaining privacy. There's other things also, the issue of bias and transparency, having the AI engine transparent, and how the decision tree is made shouldn't be a black box. And we work with our AI technology partners, and also we promote having the data processed and stored within the UAE to improve the chances of privacy and confidentiality.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll get on to sustainability in a second, but first of all, a quick word, and I know it's a big subject, but a quick word on how at the Future Foundation you're framing these ethical considerations and your approach to them. A quick word on that before we get on to sustainability.
I think in the past year we had lots of reports specifically around the data and ethical usage of it. We have, obviously, like everyone else, there are certain concerns around it, but being able to increase awareness of what is good look like and what is bad look like, I think that's helping moving things forward for us.
Well, let's talk about sustainability and AI. We all read a lot about how hungry AI can be in terms of energy, but we can turn that around, you say, and actually AI can help us in terms of sustainability? Again, what's your approach?
I think we've been working very closely with the various government entities. When we look at, as a matter of fact, DIWA is a founding member within the Dubai Center of AI. And they've been doing a lot of great things around AI and the way that we consume energy. They've been using AI into predicting what is the consumption of energy within the city. They've been predicting it almost 90% accurate. And that's helping them with the production. So what is happening with the production is actually it's more optimized, less energy wastage when it comes to producing energy, similarly to RTA. So we've been working very closely with them, not only to bring the technology closer to them, but to work with the various small companies and startups from across the globe to be able to accomplish these tasks.
And you were telling me a little bit earlier before we came on stage about some of the work, for example, that DIWA is doing with NVIDIA and using that kind of technology, which is energy intensive, but using it to help with the way that the grid performs optimally.
Absolutely. We've been working very closely with Moro, which is the technology arm of DIWA, by working very closely with NVIDIA to be able to use the solar energy from Sheikh Mohammed Park to feed into their green data centers. That approach we highly appreciate, and I think that will aid the conversation within the city around sustainability and energy consumption.
In terms of energy consumption, I mean, that's not the main part of your role at the TDRA to look at these sustainability or energy consumption issues. But in terms of sustainability, how do you factor that into the work that you do at the TDRA?
I think in terms of sustainability, new technologies like AI and anything depends on the GPUs I think will create a problem in the future. I don't know how much of control we can exert. I have read a report in a few years from now, the electricity or energy amount required for powering these data centers will be not sustainable. You will not have enough energy to power these. So it is really challenging. I think the UAE is very much open in adapting new technologies, and we look at it with some caution.
And if we look at the issue of having these data centers in country, that's interesting. And we heard earlier this morning, didn't we, about sovereign AI. It's clearly something that DO is looking at, Oracle's looking at. A lot of people are looking at this as well, and I know you are as well. How do you approach this issue of the geographical location of the data centers?
So the AI represents opportunities, lots of opportunities, but also lots of risks. One of the risks is privacy. And I think maintaining the sovereign, having sovereign clouds where the data of the citizens and the residents are being both processed and stored within the country is tackling one aspect of the ethical issue around AI, which is privacy. I know some people maybe does not look at this something important, and they say, no, the cloud is safe and secure, and you can put your workload anywhere. But I think these people really don't have an option. Today, the hyperscaler like AWS and Azure, they are not here, they are outside. Or at least there's no guarantee that their data will be stored here, or they will be subject to the laws of the UAE. But I think the suppliers are listening to us now, and the competition is growing, and they will submit to the demand of the customer.
And this is a challenge, isn't it? Because it is such a globalized network and a globalized system. The very notion of having sovereign AI, it's a nice idea, but is it even realistic? Is it realistic as a goal for any country, not just the UAE?
It will have other dimensions of challenges, but I think you need to tackle the challenges one by one. There will be always risk.
If we can look at it from the perspective of the Dubai Future Foundation, I know one of the things you look at is accelerators, things that can accelerate this process. So how do you define what an accelerator is? And then maybe give a couple of examples of accelerators that you're looking at or working with?
I think when we launched the program, which is the Dubai Future Accelerator Program, a lot of the companies and startups within the city kept calling us because you called it an accelerator. But in reality, an accelerator was meant to accelerate government. And with that, we've been working very closely with the government, specifically in identifying use cases. We had, for example, the Road and Transportation Authority. They came to us and said that we're quite tired of running the big red public buses. It's not great for the environment. It's expensive to operate, creates a lot of traffic on the road. But at the same time, we like how Uber is working. How can we actually marry these two business models and to do something quite nice? And that's what led us to create the bus on demand, which is now a service that is up and running, which allows people to go from point A to point B rather quickly. And the bus always efficiently reroute itself based on the people on the bus. So things like that is what we call accelerating government entities. There's a lot of great examples, all the way from RTA to Dubai Police to the others as well.
From the TDRA's perspective, what would be your message to the C-suite leaders that we have here, the role that they can have to play in self-regulating the use of AI? And I use self-regulate with a lowercase r. You're the regulator, but self-regulating, what can they do to make sure that they behave ethically? What would be your message to the people in the room?
Yes, as I mentioned, right now there is standards. It's not enforced yet. I would encourage them when they look into the opportunities where they can adopt AI, put these standards in front of you, try to implement them and adhere to them, because I'm sure at a point of time they will become enforced and a policy. Use AI technologies which are transparent. The decision tree is clear for you. Avoid these which are black box, because this can promote in the future more ethical use of AI.
Let me finish by picking up on a phrase that you mentioned right at the start. You said, we're in the hype phase of AI at the moment. I'm paraphrasing, but you mentioned the hype phase. How do you see this evolving over the next 3 to 5 years or so? Just a final thought on that.
I think the AI potential is endless, and it's like we have released the genie, that it will open opportunities also, but also lots of risks. There is more to realize out of the AI. Now many companies are just spending and not gaining or realizing the benefit, but we are moving toward the goal very fast. There will be lots of opportunities.
Can it be an ethical and sustainable genie?
This is tough to answer. I don't know.
Well, we're out of time. We'll leave it there. But thank you very much indeed for your time, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Let's show our appreciation for giving their time. My thanks to, first of all, Syed Belhoul, Director at the TDRA. Shukran Jazilan. Thank you, sir. And also to Syed Al-Falasi of the Dubai Future Foundation. Shukran Jazilan. Appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Right then. So we continue to the issue of a roadmap for strategy. When it comes to AI, we know it has the potential to be incredibly powerful. It's a transformative tool. But for C-suite leaders in the room, it's about making decisions, and it's about having a plan, having a roadmap in a time of incredible uncertainty. No one in this room has all of the answers. So how do you create a roadmap, and how do you pivot and evolve that roadmap as things develop, as new things happen? Well, I'm delighted to say that we've got a panel joining us on stage to discuss this now. So please join me in welcoming, first of all, the Chief Technology Officer of DO, Salim Al-Balushi. Please join us, please, Salim. Tfaddal. Nice to see you. Thank you very much indeed. We also have from Oracle, delighted to welcome Senior Vice President Cherian Varghese. Cherian, could you join us, please? Thank you very much indeed. Always good to have the big multinational tech companies on stage. Thank you, sir. Have a seat. And from IBM, again, from Big Tech, the Vice President of Data and AI and Automation, Mustafa Zafar. Good to see you. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. Tfaddal, please have a seat. So, Salim, from the perspective of DO, how has your roadmap evolved given what's happened with AI and digitization? I know it's a big question, but if you can give us a snapshot of how that roadmap has changed.
Actually, in DO, we have our strategic roadmaps are focusing on specific pillars. One of them is advancement in the core. Second one is operational excellency, next generation operation. Third one is customer experience and enhancing customer experience. Fourth one is security. Fifth is sustainability. So these are the key pillars in our strategic roadmap and framework. With AI, of course, it disrupted all the 5 pillars. And disruption from our perspective, positive disruption, it has accelerated some of the deliverables in the roadmap and accelerated the value creation from financial perspective and quality perspective. So in each of these 5 pillars, in technology, it accelerates, as an example, the time to deploy in technology perspective. And in technology as well, thanks to our partner ecosystem, we have AI chipset embedded in the systems that we are implementing, and it is helping in detecting and accelerating the value creation from suiting the asset of these systems. In our next generation operation, how we are operating the infrastructure, we see high potential in embedding AI in our operation and achieving the goal of autonomous network, operating an autonomous network. And this is clearly based on a specific framework that's driven by TM Forum, and we are following that framework. From security perspective as well, we see significant value from both angles, actually. Security, securing the AI deployment, and using AI in protecting our network from confidentiality, integrity, and availability. In sustainability, we have an interesting story, actually. Greenhouse gas emission that is being generated by our infrastructure. Today, we are doing a POC in our network where we are predicting the resource utilization of our network. So we have a network where we have multiple carriers. And at the time when the traffic reduces, we shut down some of the carriers. This results in significant improvement in power utilization. So we hit two sides, actually. One side is efficiency achievement. The other side is greenhouse gas emission control. So again, AI is a key enabler for our strategy and driving value from all the strategic pillars.
Well, let's get the perspective from our big tech guests. And both of you, I think, looking at your LinkedIn profiles, you've been with your organization for multiple decades, I'm right in thinking. So with that, Cherian, I'll start with you. How have you seen the roadmap within Oracle change? And how have you helped people, your customers that you work with, see their roadmaps change? How do you help them with that?
Oh, very good afternoon, Richard, first, and thanks to the Do team for having us here. Over the past few years, you've seen this transformation journey. I really like Jasim's slide when he showed the roadmap from 2008 onwards until 2024. I think the beauty of the IT transformation, and within tech companies also is the same, but the wave is moving extremely with high pace. You see on the chart which Jasim presented, 2008 was when the cloud took place, and then the speed at which it moved. AI is just 2 to 3 years old. Okay, if you check the Huawei slide, it was 1956 when the first Prolog programming took place, and then the Deep Blue, etc. But what I now see in the market is an absolute taker, maker, shaper attitude. There's a taker market, just fresh for AI, people who have just started to embrace AI in a way. There's a maker market, which will absolutely reshape, make the things happen. And in next couple of years, I would say, the market will be shaping into a completely different dimension. As tech companies, we've started to correlate and see where AI is going on every day. This morning, as I was driving to this event, I realized AI is touching my life in every aspect. Got up with an Amazon alarm clock, I would say, Alexa waking me up. Got onto a car which was probably running predictive analytics. On the RTA, I was monitored by a signal which was absolutely clicking pictures for speed, another AI-driven program. And I would say it's in every walk of life which technology is shaping. And I'm sure technology providers like IBM, Oracle, and many other big boys of this game are at the forefront of shaping and making this happen.
Well, in terms of the evolution of AI, success has many fathers, but not many can claim as much legitimacy as IBM to having been there right from the outset. So how have you, Mustafa, seen the roadmap evolve, and what happens next for you and, of course, the clients that you work with?
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, and as you said, like we have been with AI for decades, but I would say in the last more than a decade right now, AI has been in the core of our strategy as IBM. not only to develop new products, but even as users within IBM, how are we embracing AI? I would say right now, especially in the last year and a half, like beginning of last year, we decided with the focus on generative AI to focus our product roadmap on how do we help organizations and businesses adopt AI in a responsible way. And that for us translated or evolved our way we look at our own products from just being standalone products into platforms that allow the organization to take advantage of AI and generative AI in general. And I will mention 3 important platforms for us. And the first one around the hybrid cloud, because we believe AI cannot be done without a hybrid multi-cloud. It's not on one cloud and it's not on one organization. The compute that we need, it's immense, and it has to be within a hybrid cloud environment. So our company, Red Hat, focuses on building a hybrid cloud environment with OpenShift AI and Linux AI to be the virtualization engine for whatever compute platform underneath. And then we move into the platform of building AI applications, which is the focus of our data and AI platform that focuses on a couple of things. One, to be open to embrace as much as we can the majority of the models that exist in the market or developed by our customers and different organizations. That goes from the partnership that we have done with Meta, with Mistral, with even locally and regionally with Jace, with Falcon, with Alam, because we believe that there is no one model that fits all, and there has to be a multi-model and a multi-model world where we need to choose the best model for the best use case. And then all the way taking that into really IBM strategy is try to minimize the compute need as much as we can because of the energy consumption and because it is quite expensive as well. So how do we build models? And this is where IBM focus as well, building our own models, which is called the Granite, around medium to small models that fit for the purpose of the use case. So our focus is how do we build a 7B or a 13B or maximum a 30B model that perform as well as a 100+ B model to lower down the entry point and the energy consumption and the cost of running these models. And then we move into
I'm going to ask you to hold that thought for a second because we're up against the clock. 6 minutes and 3, 2, 1 seconds. Salim Al-Baluchi, if I could turn to you. I'm interested to know, in your advice to other CTOs and C-suite leaders, how do you balance the fact that you've got a long-term vision, a strategy, a plan, and yet things change, and so you have to be agile? How do you create a roadmap given those 2 different forces?
So actually, the advice to the CTOs that we need to focus first on building the basics, which in Do actually we started since 2017, building the basics from inventory management perspective, from building our data lake. Data is key to enable AI. So we need to start from basics, enabling the basics, which again, control and data. And then from there, we can drive specific use cases that are value creating. And value creating, we have to be very specific. We need to implement use cases that results in financial gains and customer experience improvement and the way we are operating the capabilities. So it has to be value driven, and we need to focus on basics. Maybe we need to do the assessment and benchmark where are we against the implementation of AI, and then drive the capabilities forward.
Cherian, just a brief word on cloud or clouds, a multi-cloud environment, an open cloud environment. How are you approaching that, and what's your advice to CTOs in the room?
So Richard, we would see that multi-cloud is the most in thing, or open is the new buzzword, because clouds were traditionally known to be walled gardens of one particular provider. But in the last few months, years, multi-cloud is the way to go. It's a tripod of making your AI successful. AI needs data, data needs good data centers, and good data centers need great cloud providers. And as cloud providers, it's an era going to be multi-cloud, interoperability between the cloud vendors. That's what the success for every CIO in this room, every CTO in this room as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to this afternoon after lunch. We've got a panel on data centers, which is going to be a fascinating discussion. If I can turn to you from the perspective of IBM, only a couple of minutes left. One of the big challenges that you see CTOs facing, and what advice would you give them? There are many challenges, but if you can pick one and offer some advice, potentially a solution.
So I'll mention a couple of them very quickly. Number one, ROI. Are we getting the right ROI from the use cases? And I will say it's hard to have an ROI based on one use case. I think the advice that we give to all the CTOs in the room and beyond is look at a pipeline of ROI and start with the ones that are low-hanging fruit that brings very clear ROI, not necessarily the most difficult use case to start with. The second part, which goes back to responsible AI and governance. Governance cannot be an afterthought. Governance has to be and thought about from the beginning in terms of framework and in terms of tools to be implemented to guardrail the implementation of AI. And lastly, as was said here, data. Like, you cannot scale AI without having the right data and access the right data for it, and trusting the data as well.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Actually, Salim, from the perspective of Do, if I can pick up on that point that Mustafa made about ROI, an incredibly capital-intensive business. And when you speak with your CFO, CTO and CFO, looking at this issue of ROI, you're spending billions and billions and you have to. How do you approach that?
Actually, it is enabling any tools, any capabilities, it has to be value-driven. It has to be value-driven. So the discussion that when we discuss with the CFO, that a specific use case that creates value, regardless of the magnitude, of course. It can be a complex use case that can generate very minimum value, or a simple use case that can generate significant value. And these are the discussions with which we are engaged recently. We are adapting data robots capabilities for the use case of efficiency in power, for example. The power efficiency use case that I talked about, the closed loop power efficiency use case, that is a specific use case where we see clearly the value, and we got the buy-in of the CFO. We are adapting that technology. We are buying the use case, the capabilities, building the infrastructure, and moving forward with clarity of the value creation, the outcome. It has, again, my view, it has to be very clear that we are implementing a technology. It should not be, again, at this stage of AI maturity, it should not be only for POC and trial and error of the spending money and trial and error. It should be an outcome-based. And the capabilities are mature enough to enable AI and convince the CFOs of value creation, being short-term or long-term value creation.
We'll have to leave it there. We're out of time, but thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. Really appreciate your time today. Let's show our thanks to our panelists today. You just heard from Salim Al-Balushi there, Chief Technology Officer at Do. Thank you very much indeed. We heard from Cherian Varghese at Oracle and also Mustafa Zafar there at IBM. Thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate it, Cherian. Thank you very much indeed. And also to Mustafa. Right, lots to get through today, so I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of our MC today. Back to you, Jane. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once again for Richard Dean. Fantastic moderating. Thank you so much, Richard. And we've got another great speaker up next for you who will be exploring the concept of sovereign AI, why it's essential for nations and enterprises to build AI systems that reflect their unique values, data, and strategic needs. So please put your hands together. Give a big warm welcome to Hani Kala, Field CTO, Data and AI Solutions at Dell. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Am I audible? Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. My name is Hani Khalaf. I work for Dell Technologies in the Data and AI team. I'll be talking to you, I'll be going back a little bit, one step. I guess we all spoke about sovereign AI and heard about sovereign AI. And I want to go one step and define sovereign AI. So, sovereign AI or a sovereign AI system or a cloud is one that is owned and fully controlled by an entity in the country. And this is extremely important. The control plane of a sovereign AI cloud needs to be in the country. And we'll know why as we go throughout the presentation. So why do governments actually create sovereign clouds? This is something that I think NVIDIA started talking about a year ago, sovereign AI, and CEO of NVIDIA was going around the world talking to governments about it. So why is this actually a topic of discussion, and why should nations care about this? First thing is national strategies. UAE aims to be a global leader in AI by 2030. To achieve this, sovereign AI is a must. To create sovereign AIs and have things under your control and create new intellectual property, you need to have sovereign AIs. You need to have things under your control. And to have AI that is aligned with your cultural values, you need sovereign AI. Now, today, there's no choice but to depend on foreign technology. So nations should be partnering with technology companies, but at the same time, looking to see how they can reduce dependence on foreign tech. In the GCC, all countries have a goal to diversify away from oil. AI is one of the key drivers for diversification away from oil, because AI creates new industries. We have seen the creation of many startups, AI startups, very innovative ones in the country here. One of them is our partner, Open Innovation. And this was driven by the leadership's vision to create new IP and invest in local talent. This local investment attracts AI skills globally. And personally, I have spoken to many individuals in the AI world who are looking to move into the UAE because of the UAE's position and innovation in AI. Now, what happens when you don't align AI with your cultural values? I was playing a few days ago with Midjourney. Now, I can't remember the exact prompt, but I asked for a picture of some local people in the UAE, and that's what it gave me. When I thought about it, I realized that this whole system there is not trained to recognize local values. When you have sovereign AI that is trained on your data, this will not happen, or chances of this are less. All right, let's talk now about entities who want to build sovereign AI clouds. What do they look for typically? And this is based on collective lessons learned, experience that Dell Technologies has gathered working with these entities. First thing is they want something validated. They want somebody who has done this before, because investments in this technology are huge. This is not cheap technology. This is not easy to acquire. We all see the race for accelerators in the world and specifically in the region. So when you build something, you want to build something that you know is architecturally correct. The next thing is you want diversification, and you want to work with multiple partners when it comes to silicon accelerators and when it comes to ISVs, the stack that goes with the accelerators. And it's extremely important to always design the infrastructure and the software stack together. The third thing is complexity of operating these AI clouds. Very important to have the proper management tools to run them, including observability. So observability typically refers to observing the infrastructure and how it's running, etc. But there is another aspect of observability which I'm going to talk about later. And one of the most important, and maybe the most important thing in these clouds is something called GPU utilization. Something that is typically ignored until the problem hits home. What does GPU utilization mean, or accelerator? We know these are expensive resources, GPUs, and we know they're hard to acquire, they're expensive. So when we use them, when we get them, we want to maximize utilization. If you buy a 5,000 or 10,000 GPU AI system and your utilization is 50%, you are technically wasting 5,000 GPUs. In many AI systems, utilization is typically around 20 to 30%, unless special measures are taken to increase utilization. One of these measures is the mix of GPUs in the cloud, which is how many powerful GPUs we have, how many medium power GPUs, and how many low power GPUs we have. If there's a task that is sent by somebody and requires, for example, a simple linear regression model, I will not assign an H100 powerful, expensive GPU to run that model. I will direct it to a smaller model. So typically in service providers, this is the catalog of how things are built. Sovereign AI clouds will focus on this part, which is typically infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Now, how these are mapped in a sovereign cloud is this. So typically in a sovereign cloud, what the provider provides to start are 4 levels of services. One is, we call it bare metal as a service. This is a service for somebody who wants just infrastructure with GPUs, completely separate. They want to run it probably for government agencies. They don't want to be linked to anybody. They just want their own hardware. So this is called bare metal. This is the first level. Second level of service is Kubernetes as a service, which means the provider provides the infrastructure and the Kubernetes platform. So somebody who wants to use the system will bring their own containers and run the system. The third level is MLOps as a service, which means now we have the software, the MLOps platform, that is offered as a service to public or government. And typically, these kind of things are consumed by data scientists and data engineers, the actual people who do the AI in the entities that this telco is serving. Okay? This could be data scientists. There could be startups who are looking to start. And by the way, one of the things why governments build sovereign AI clouds, because they can subsidize the price of the service offered to these startups to ignite innovation. And the last level of service that's typically offered is inferencing. For example, LLM inferencing. So a sovereign AI cloud can host Falcon or several flavors of Falcon, Jace, Silma, Llama 3.2, which was announced 2 days ago, and allow agencies to inference from that LLM within the borders and the control and the sovereignty of the nation. Now, another important aspect, like I said, is diversity. Today, we know that NVIDIA has the best accelerators. Everybody's after NVIDIA accelerators, but there are other runners in this race coming very fast, some of them. And we always need to think of silicon diversification. Technology diversification requires silicon diversification. You cannot depend on one sole silicon provider in your cloud. And lastly, a proper sovereign cloud cannot happen without taking data into consideration, because you require the agencies to bring their data into that sovereign cloud and be able to process it. Now, I mentioned observability earlier. And when I talk about observability in a cloud stack like this, I talk about AI model observability. As we start making more decisions based on AI, we need to observe AI models and their performance. Because if data poisoning happens, for example, that could poison the data into the AI model, and that could change significantly the decisions made by AI model. So in addition to infrastructure observability, AI model observability and data observability are key into these AI clouds. Now call me optimistic, super optimistic. Just like in the old days, there was a Silk Road, which took silk from the east to the west. Maybe we should envision AI being the new Silk Road. If I want to be super optimistic, I see the Silk Road between the nations of this region, where sovereign AI clouds work together. If I want to be less optimistic, I can see a Silk Road between sovereign clouds within the country. Thank you very much.
We're going to deep dive straight into the world of AI and 6G network now, as we look at the importance of collaboration to build networks that help the world act together. We're thrilled to have Jane Rygaard, Head of Corporate Partnerships at Nokia, here to join us. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you. And I'm very, very happy. Thanks for the invitation to coming both from DO and Digital Dubai. And I was looking at this presentation and I was like, what is it I really need to talk about with AI? And I realized when I arrived this week that I have one wish for another app for Dubai when it comes to AI, because it seems to be that your roads and buildings are changing for every single time I'm coming. So next time I need some predictability on where I'm actually going, because I have no clue when I'm standing out there. I will touch a little bit on what is the, where it's really we see AI and the difference on it. And of course, we heard a lot this morning, and you could say I'm not going to repeat a lot of the things we already heard. But the thing is that we do see that AI is a part of augmenting us as humans, both in terms of the decision making, in terms of the productivity, but also very much on how do we do automation across the part. And here the important part is that when we look at things like the AI, you can say automation out there, it will be everywhere. Now we heard earlier from Dell about that it needs to be local and everything else, but it also means we need to have an idea about where do we train AI, how do we actually going to execute it, and where. So I agree with you, and I would say, of course, from our point of view, we also need to make sure the connectivity provide the data the right places needs to be in there. This also leads to the part of saying AI is a lot about use cases, all about the automation, but it's also about using AI within the technology that we need to be able to provide. In our case, we talk about AI-powered networks and how we need to make sure, we heard earlier also from DO about taking it into operation. We need to talk about AI orchestration, but being able to utilize in the full network out there and how we would use the use cases on it. The last part where I want to say, and we already heard a little bit again, on sustainability and also on the security. One of the things that is very, very critical, and is one of the things that I have a suggestion for next year's agenda, because actually the part is to saying how is things like quantum going to influence us. And a lot of people talk about, when we talk about quantum, we talk about quantum computing and how far are we, can we do the right qubits and are they stable? But reality is that in connection with this quantum, there comes a lot of opportunities for new discovery, for new use cases, but there also comes a security risk. The very pessimistic part of our calculation says that within the next 5 years, there's actually up to 10% of people, experts out there that says we will have quantum capabilities. That means that any encryption that we base our whole community, our digital cities on, will be able to be broken within 24 hours. So we need to also include some of the security aspects when we talk about quantum safe networking, and we need to think about what do we do with this power that comes with AI in combination of quantum out there. So maybe more on that later. Then let me just see if I can. So the part is here, if we look forward and we're saying, what is it we need to do and where are we today? Well, we have for a long, long time talked about the merging of the physical and the digital world, right? We're digitalization. We're talking about the data that fuels the AI decisions. But the last part that we need to include in this is this, what I would call a human world. So how do we represent the human intent, the human ideas for what we want to do into this world? And this is really where we see that AI plays a role. Please, AI has to be the human intent part of the digital world so that we can use the digital world also to be able to automate the physical. Now, this is a long story, right? We are not there, but we do start slowly. And the more we learn and the more we think about it, we need to be clear that the AI we deploy in these parts, both within our technology, but also for the use case on top, that we need to get to a part that we have I would call a responsible AI. We need to set some principles. We heard a little bit about it on the regulatory side. What do we need to do as industries to do this? But we need to make sure that we have some guardrails for how we do it if AI has to represent the human intent in this digital world. Now, because I do like technology a lot, I will start showing you what happens if we are good at using AI also for merging the physical and the digital world of this part. And now this is an experiment because I can see that it looks slightly different than my slides I submitted. But we have in this case, because robotics is not always interesting to look at, right? So I took a hockey game. I'm obviously from the northern part of the world, so we do like ice hockey. We take a representation of that hockey field, and I can digitalize it. Now that's not new. We've done it for a year. We can do a 3D image of these things. What I then do is that I, on top of that, and now I need to. It didn't. Can I go back on one? Yeah. So the part is here that I'll be able to do a video in all directions at the same time. So this is static. It's a static of the whole arena. I do a dynamic overlay. I, within that overlay, track all the players. If I now combine it, I will actually have a live hockey game, fully digitalized, constantly all the time. That means I can automate things. I can bring things in all angles, but I have a real-time digital representation of a physical world. Now, this was an example because that as soon as we start saying that we can enable digital twinning with the right power of compute, but also with the AI part, we're then able to automate a lot more things out there and we're able to influence it. So I took the hockey game because it's more fun to look at than the automation of factories, airports, ports, or whatever else we have. But the idea is this is where we need to get to, of being able to overlay the physical and the digital world. And then when we bring in the human intent of how we want to automate, that is our intentions, then it also becomes this human aspect in the end. To bring it a little bit more practical, I would say, of what are the examples. One of the things that we have done that I would like to highlight is to simple things like warehouse counting. I don't know how many of you have a warehouse, but I will tell you that the amount of hours manually is being spent on making sure that if you say that there's 5 boxes on shelf number 11, that there actually are 5 on there when your customers want to buy one of them. So warehouse and counting and the pure logistics of having the right inventory, it takes a lot of time. So what we've done is that we've said, well, maybe we can use a drone for the scanning. Now, a little autonomous drone flying every night to count on what there is. Now, that's very well, but the point is, you know, if you look into a shelf, you don't actually always know what's behind. So you might be able to see the front and say there's 5 boxes, but behind, was there another 5 or were there only 2? So in this case, we combine things like autonomous drones and surveillance via video with AI to predict and say how I'm counting. Do I have the right inventory on my boxes? So these things is a combination of a, automation of looking, but then using the AI for counting and therefore stopping having people to work and actually do physical counting throughout. Coming back to cloud distribution and where is this executed, now it would be nonsense in many ways to put the data out of this warehouse and actually transfer it somewhere centrally, get the count back, because you will have the whole system locally, you will have the service locally. So when we talk about how to use AI and AI services for automation and also get productivity gains up in the industries, well, then it's also back to this saying, where is the execution of the AI happening? We need to be able to do that where it's most efficient, also for a energy consumption, because even though data is supposed to fuel everything, there's still a energy cost of transporting that data if you want to have it too far out. So I would say local is one thing, but I would like to keep it local to make sure that it actually sits in the places where there is. That also means we need to have the right services available, the right cloud, the right network to be able to do this. Another part where I just want to take with me is to when we bring Gen AI into the part of providing services, in this case in a factory, that we would be able to say, we're sitting, clean room, something leaks, there is a gas out there. Normally you will just have a big alarm, like it would happen here. We would all get an alarm, we need to run out because there's a fire. But what is actually happening and how do I make sure that people get the right context of what there is? So in this case, we have combined the gas leaking. There's a sensor that is detecting that this gas is leaking, it's dangerous, people should get out. But who's supposed to do what at what time? And that's where you get individual messages. So the person who knows what protective gear do I need to put on, what kind of gas is it, what is the context I'm actually in, and then in the end being able to provide the map for saying what is the quickest way out. All of this is a combination of input from many places. There's some sensor data, there's some information most likely in a manual, there's a map, there's some real-time data of where you are and how you get out. What we then use AI for is to combine it so that the contextual information in front of the person that is in that room becomes as accurate as possible and are able to lead people out. So another example of where it is that we actually bring technology in for not just more technology, but for making a human difference in what there is, in this case, in safety. This can be expanded, I think, to all kind of broader safety issues that we can see around in our digital world. That also means, and I think it's very, very clear from what we heard earlier today from nearly everybody, right, that we can say that when we look at some of the problems that we need or challenges we do see out there, some of them are so big and they're so complex that we cannot assume that there's one company that can actually own or solve all of these parts. And we don't have all the elements individually. We saw nice graphs earlier. We've seen discussions on stage on how many different parts we need to do. So here is my firm belief is that if we want to be able to solve them and actually have what I would call a collaborative advantage of being first with some of these things and being able to provide the right output of it, we need to work together. And that is becoming even more critical as we move from today, which is for me a 5G world, to this AI-powered 6G world, because it goes so fast as we go forward, and the world out there becomes more and more complex, that we do need to find a way to overcome our differences and being able to build these solutions together. And that's, I would say, are two of the for me, critical solutions that we need to look at, right? Because the sustainability part, the whole climate discussion is so big that we cannot assume that we are able to do that. We have to use, coming back to the AI, we have to use the technology that is out there and make sure that technology, and I was mentioned earlier as well in one of the panels, right, that our technology handprint is bigger than the footprint we leave. So yes, we need to be conscious about the energy consumption of the AI, of the network itself, on how we transport the data, how do we achieve them. But we need to make sure that when we paid that footprint of our technology, that what we gain by digitalization is bigger. And that is again complex. We need to make sure that we do the right things for the right reasons and not just because it looks good on my books, right? Because then it doesn't give us the full solution for, I was about to say for us, but more likely for our kids. And that also goes for the security. the more we digitalize, and we've seen it, we know it, what happens if the technology breaks down? My first suggestion would be there is a personal panic if we switch off everybody's data connection in here, because then there's something that we can't do. It can be simple things like finding out where is my car to what's actually my schedule in half an hour. Now, the next part is that if the critical infrastructure that we build our societies on are no longer secure, then we have a different failure, because we manage to get a different kind of lifestyle because of technology. And that's why security for me up here is more than cybersecurity. It's actually the full scope of we need to make sure that when we solve the problems that we think security into the first part, we need to secure the network, the infrastructure, we need to think the applications, but we also need to be able to put it all together in one scope, and therefore back to the responsibility. This technology we should do for humans, and therefore solve our problems and not do technology for the sake of technology. So my true belief here is that if we combine, and I was about to say the brain power that I've seen on stage during today, right? We come pretty far. But we only come that far if we are able to build the trust that we actually have the right discussions with each other, and that we are able to share the knowledge. Now, we all know we don't share knowledge unless we trust each other. So my encouragement to all of you and for further discussion is that we take this and we try to make sure that when we look at the bigger problems, yes, some of us are competitors in the room and some of us need to work together, but we need to find the level of doing that, because otherwise we're not going to use the technology for the right reasons, and we're not going to solve the problems that are biggest for all of us. With this, I want to say thank you very much. Short, and I would encourage for more discussions. I do recommend that we talk a bit more also on the quantum part. Maybe that's a wish for what is the consequences of moving into a quantum age with AI, because it is very much going to expand the world from where we are today, and it's going to go so much faster that I hope that we can build the trust to share the knowledge to get it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. The time for widespread business adoption of generative AI has come. But how can businesses fully harness the technology to create unique value? We hear a lot about the speculative potential of AI, but this session will explore the real-world success stories. Here we will learn how to drive productivity and innovation with AI applied to customer service, code modernization, and workflow automation. Discover how hybrid cloud infrastructure and secure AI architecture can help you scale AI models efficiently with trusted data. Please join me in welcoming Saad Tomer, General Manager, Middle East and Africa at IBM.
Hello, everyone. Great to see all of you, and great to see this agenda. Really delighted to be here for the second year in a row and to see such great participation in this event. A lot has happened in the last year, as we all know, and I'm going to take you through some of this as we look at how AI is scaling through enterprises and governments around the world. We're in a critical moment in terms of having technology as a competitive advantage around the world. As you look at the next 10 years, GDP around the globe is growing 2 to 3%. Technology is growing 2 to 3 points above that. I would also put to you that we believe technology will be the most important single competitive advantage lever we'll see in the next 10 years. It's a time in history that probably will not repeat, but very, very significant, driven by hybrid and AI. In terms of productivity, clearly there is a lot of automation, innovation that goes into the enterprise business model, as well as cost management, cost takeout. We've embraced a lot of this. We've done a lot of work in the UAE, very proud of it. The Artificial Intelligence 2031 vision around sustainability and how AI could help with this. and of course with the country's agenda around its digital transformation. As we look at three key areas at IBM, we are strategically positioned around those three areas. The first one is hybrid cloud, second one is AI and data, the third one is of course automation, and I'll walk through each one of these separately. In terms of hybrid cloud, the right approach, we believe, is going to be hybrid for a simple reason of you have on-prem, you have edge, you have hyperscalers, and generally each company in this room or government institution would be using probably all of the above and multiple hyperscalers. So the world is hybrid, and IBM made a bet on this through Red Hat and the technologies of Red Hat that also provides an open source approach to hybrid, because you also want it to be open. The last thing you want is major dependency on a single vendor. And open source, of course, and Red Hat delivers all of that. Now, in terms of the adoption that we see out there, especially on AI going forward, leveraging hybrid, there is no AI without data. So the world starts with data. Some of my colleagues on the panels earlier talked a lot about this, but there will be no AI without data. So therefore, there needs to be an approach to data. And we're seeing in the UAE the widespread of usage of AI, but also beyond that, the intent for more use cases going forward. Some data points here for you. So the GDP estimation growth 7 trillion over the next 3 years, mostly due to AI, driving global GDP, this is. UAE has a vision of roughly 335 billion GDP generated by 2031 as part of that vision. So that's over $100 billion of extra GDP because of AI. As we heard earlier in the various presentations, the UAE has been a pioneer here, 22 chief AI officers. Other countries don't have that. I'll tell you, I manage a lot of countries and I've lived in many countries. That has not been done to this level of focus. The talent, the skilling is a key priority. For example, the AI retreat, the Global Prompt Engineering Championship, that was all done in the UAE. A first, again, in the region, in my view. And 45% of companies are experimenting with AI. This is a global statement, probably correlate fairly well to UAE, but 10% are in production mode. So there's a lot to go, but what this tells you is the learning, the usage, the workshops, the use cases are expanding dramatically. And value will be demonstrated further and further. The 10%, I fully expect that next time when I speak to you, will probably be 30%, not 12, not 13, but 30%. And this will increase, of course, help reach enterprises and governments their strategic goals. Now, at IBM, about a year ago, we introduced Watson X. Watson X is our platform for AI. It is the place where the use cases and the models are experimented upon based on a use case. It is the place where we could manage data and the data lakehouse, and we could also apply governance to manage risk around AI. And in our experience over the last year, 3 major use cases have come up. The first one around digital labor. Digital labor is where you have repetitive tasks, typically back-end in supply chain or business process, where you have an assistant assisting the laborer, if you will, in a digital way. The other area is customer experience. So of course, for Do, that's a big area. I'm a customer of Do, and you want that agent to have the best tools available about me, the individual. That's what creates customer happiness. At the same time, you want speed. So when you call in or approach, the process is very transparent, very fluid. And the third thing, of course, many clients want is lower cost. Because if you augment AI agents with the physical agent, you get better cost and more speed. The third area we're seeing is coding and programming. So this is the whole AI ops operations of IT. And programming, there are a lot of assistants, again, to help developers extract up to 40, 50, 60% of productivity by writing better code, faster code, and testing of that code. Now, I'll give you some examples of where we've seen this live. NTT Data, a large Japanese but very global company, it's a global IT services company, has reduced the cost of production of high-quality documents by 70%. And NTT Data will produce a lot of documents, whether it's proposals or delivery-type capability to clients. 70% reduction leveraging watsonx. And this is the orchestrate capability of watsonx. From a customer experience perspective, Windtree, an Italian telecom provider, is having a customer response 10 times faster, 10x faster than without the IBM watsonx assistant capability. And from a code perspective, leveraging Code Assistant for Z, Westfield Insurance accelerated the time to develop COBOL code modules by about 150% type savings. So what used to take an hour, now it's taken, what used to take 10 hours, now it's taken about an hour to do the same code and make sure it's done the right way. Now, let me talk a bit more about watsonx. So I'm very proud that we've announced a new suite of assistants. Now, these assistants are very important for productivity, automation, and streamlined operations. The first one is watsonx Code Assistant. I referred to that, but this one is for Java applications. I know probably all of you, the code you have in your enterprises, you want it to be understood and developed and translated into Java for multi-usage. This allows that to happen, and it's, again, the 40% productivity saving is absolutely applicable. Secondly, the watsonx Assistant for Z. This is for quick transfer of knowledge and expertise. The Z platform has been here for over 60 years, and it's the kind of the foundation of many enterprises around the globe. And thirdly, the Code Assistant for Z. This is about understanding the code that's out there. And this is not just Z by itself, but also the distributed environment. And finally, there's a new capability around the Assistant Builder. This allows enterprises to create their own assistants leveraging watsonx. The power of that is huge. An example of that is the Sevilla, the Seville Football Club, where scouting is a major activity. And they've actually taken the work to analyze 200,000, let's call them scouting applicants or young people who could play football, and they could do all that in under an hour using watsonx technologies. It's an assistant technology. Now, one other announcement I'm proud to share with you is the IBM Granite family of large language models. These are, as Mustafa said earlier, in the 8 to 13 billion parameter model. So they don't consume a lot of energy, they don't need a lot of GPUs, but the accuracy matched the 100+ billion models. We again believe that's where the industry will end up going, because these models get so sophisticated, you don't need 100 billion, 200 billion, or 500 billion parameter. You could do it at much lower cost and speed with between 8, 10, and 13 billion parameters. They are open source, which is really important. Again, like I said earlier, we've made that decision. This is a huge investment by IBM that we will open source this because we want the community to participate, like we've seen it happen with Red Hat over 10 years ago, and the power of that open source community. And it really makes the model work better when you open source it. Now, coupled with this, we are very proud to announce that we introduced InstructLab. InstructLab is a new approach for open source innovation for large language models. It turns all of us into value creators in this space. And it invites really the best developers to participate and co-create the future of AI. This is open source, available. If you go to ibm.com, type InstructLab, you'll get the information. And it allows you to build models that exactly fit your business and your data. What we've done, of course, doesn't go stand alone with IBM, like I mentioned, multi-vendor. So there's an ecosystem here. And the standouts would be, we have an integration with AWS SageMaker. watsonx platform is on Microsoft Azure in this country. Granite series with SAP, Salesforce will come later this year, in a couple of months. And in Saudi, we've been very proud to work with Sadaya, the community that looks after AI in the country, on Alam. And Alam is an Arabic large language model available on watsonx with many use cases being applied to it today in Saudi Arabia. Automation, the second area I mentioned. So IBM has a suite to deliver automation for applications and operations. One of the biggest problems that exists in the industry is how do you run IT operations better? I'll give you an example of this. So 82% of enterprise leaders say IT complexity is impeding success. 55% are lacking the actual spend. How much am I spending on IT and how do I manage it better? And then we know in the next 4 years, there'll be roughly 1 billion new applications written because of AI around the world. Imagine 1 billion. And imagine the cost of this is if it's not automated and done the right way. So again, we are pleased to announce that we announced an offering. It's an AI-powered automation offering called IBM Concert. And IBM Concert is powered by watsonx, uses AI capability to provide visibility and insight across the entire ecosystem of business applications. So that is a very, very powerful dashboard in one place. It can identify, predict, and fix problems before they happen. It also helps you reduce risk and compliance burdens, which are also very important for applications. It is really the nervous system of technology and operations. And for those of you in IT, operations, or CIOs, it's a very, very valuable suite here. And Concert runs up a capability of automation suite capabilities that IBM has. And let me just walk you through some of those right now. So in IBM, we have a complete suite for IT automation. Some examples of it, Turbonomics helps you optimize performance and the cost of IT infrastructure. It's a very, very powerful tool. In IBM, we've used it. We used to have 6 interfaces. Now we have 1. And we've actually been able to execute 175,000 automated resourcing actions in 4 months. And very controlled way of doing it. In terms of FinOps, I talked about cost of IT spend. Apptio on this chart allows you to control and manage and firstly know what your cloud spend is. And Apptio does that for you as an application. In fact, there's a national rural electricity company in the US that is using it, and they've reduced cloud costs in the US by 30% using Apptio. And of course, as I said earlier, watsonx is in the middle of this because you do want, whether it's network, whether it's storage, whether it's systems, as you manage and automate, you want AI-infused capability at the front of all of this. Let me wrap up with one final message around what you want AI to be. 3 key words: trusted, flexible, open. Trusted, meaning the data you use, the source of it, could you trust it? Hallucination, bias, how do you manage all this? And watsonx has that built in the .governance capability. Flexible, hybrid. I mentioned hybrid. You want that flexibility. You do not want to have certain models and applications totally locked in one direction. And then in terms of open, it's open source. So it's hands-on experience. Your employees, your vendors, your colleagues will work on it to improve it day in, day out. So I hope I've given you in the last 15, 20 minutes some insights into where we're going, where we see the world is. And I'm very, very confident in 12 months' time, we'll all be talking about the use cases out of what I've discussed. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to discussing outside.
And I hope that you've been finding our Envision conference both engaging and enlightening today. We've got 3 sessions to bring you this afternoon, and the first is a panel which will look at the AI-enabled future of data centers. to tell us more about this session and welcome his guests. Please put your hands together for my co-pilot for today, moderator and broadcaster Richard Dean.
Thank you very much indeed. Happy to be your wingman any day, Jane. Right then, I'm looking forward to this session because it's about data centers. And we've talked this morning, haven't we, about use cases and all the great things that AI can do. And we've also talked about ethics and some of the potential dark side of AI. None of it's going to happen unless the data centers are there to make it happen, which is why this is such a critical panel today and why we've got such a great lineup on this panel. We've only got 15 minutes, but we're going to dig into some big issues. So I'm going to welcome my panel up all together to save time. Please join me in welcoming, first of all, Head of Data Center Business at Do, Majid Al-Nakbi. Majid, join us, please. We've got Victor Chen from Huawei Middle East, General Manager of the UAE Data Center Facility. Tafadal. We've got Kamal Al-Tawil, Managing Director of Equinix. And also, Meli Kirklogs is here. Meli is Office of the CTO within Fortinet. He's been with Fortinet for nearly 20 years now, as far as I can gather from his LinkedIn profile. Senior Director within there, and a very experienced guy in this field. So, we are hoping to have all of these gentlemen with us. Hey, come and join us. Good to have you with us. Thanks very much indeed. Right, okay. Let's continue. Let's continue. So, Majid, if I can begin by talking to you, Head of Data Center Business at Do. These data centers, absolutely critical, of course. And what role is Do playing in today's AI-driven digital world? And here's a question for you. Is it now fair to describe Do as a national hyperscale champion? Or is that a journalist going too far?
Well, thank you first of all for
Please join us.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction and the question. And I believe, yes, in the AI-driven digital landscape, Do has solidified its role as one of the key players in terms of data center, cloud providers, and we are one of the key national cloud hyperscale providers. This is how Do is playing the role in terms of enabling the foundation and the infrastructure that will host all of those AI applications in a very innovative manner. I would say that today our data center footprint is increasing, adopting all of the newest technologies, and we are enabling the future for all AI applications to provide the mission-critical services that are required for the public and private sector. Hence, we see that the role of being a hyperscale cloud provider, a national hyperscale cloud provider, is essential, and we're driving this agenda all the way to the successful implementation.
Okay, so national hyperscale cloud provider, I'm good with that. Okay, fine. We'll go with that. Victor Chen, good to have you with us, Victor. From Huawei's perspective, and a great presentation by your colleague from Huawei earlier on today. Some of the technologies that you're looking at, how are these AI technologies impacting data center facility solutions? We talk a lot about how data centers are impacting AI, but it also works the other way around as well. So how would you frame that for us, Victor?
Yep. As you know now, the complete industry now is trying to working on like using AI technologies in data center solutions. Just for two purposes, I believe. One is to optimize the operation and maintenance efficiency. Another one is to improve the PUE, save the power consumptions. So as you know, Huawei, we are a key player also for AI domain. We have our own AI chip. We have our own storage and Atlas platform something. So we are also doing some practice for data center facility solutions, such like for power solution, now we're using iPower to detect all the power system parameters. We can predict the power failure instead of waiting for the failure to happen, okay? So similar for cooling systems, we are doing the collection of all the mechanism system. We are doing the analysis and use by AI technologies, we can save more power consumptions. By these ways, we can improve 8% of the PUE. This is power consumption, save power consumption of the cooling systems. And this practice also we already approved in one of the data center in China, Ulaanbaatar data center. So we are now continuously witness the optimization of the power consumption year by year.
It's interesting, we heard a similar story from the Dubai Future Foundation earlier on, saying that that's very much what DEWA here in Dubai is doing, and many others as well, using technology like yours, I'm sure, using that AI to optimize the power grid. And you say it's real, that the benefits are real of AI, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Good to know that. Right, from the perspective of Equinix, of course, massive in the data center field, looking at ways, Kamal, that AI everywhere is increasing these AI workloads, because we know it is, don't we? Okay, we read it everywhere, the increased workload on AI. But tell us a bit about that trend.
Yeah, so it's great to be the panel after lunch. Thank you so much. We'll try our best to keep you ongoing. So, so yeah, Equinix, as you might know, is the largest digital infrastructure company in the globe. We run almost more than 270 plus data centers across more than 70 metros and 36 countries. We're really pleased that we have an alliance with DEW that started more than a decade back, creating the first career-neutral data center in the region. And from there, we moved out to build the largest digital ecosystem in not just in the UAE, but in the whole Middle East, which is still an envy of many countries to replicate. So from an AI perspective, we all heard that AI is not new, but the way I look at it is our industry had inflection points. One of the key inflection points was the internet. That was a big inflection point. Then the other inflection point was cloud 10 years back, where cloud came in and changed the face of enterprise computing and how companies use IT to really enhance and optimize. Another inflection point was COVID. COVID and the pandemic really changed the landscape and increased the consumption of digital services to an unprecedented level, to a level that if you have not become a digital business during COVID, you were out of business. And now the new inflection point is AI, and AI is really promising to change the whole landscape in how we work, how we play, how we consume knowledge, and it has big advance in multiple fields in terms of healthcare, education, etc., and that might take another couple of days to discuss that. Now, from a data center point of view, if you see this, the AI needs data. These large language models needs data, and a huge of data. So if data is the new oil, data centers are the refineries that turns this oil into knowledge, into products that we all consume. And so data centers sit at the core of that AI revolution. And we have heard a lot about how we become leaders in AI, how we become leaders in getting and becoming AI leaders and the sovereign AIs. So really, the data center at the core of that transformation, at the core of that evolution slash revolution. So what we have seen a huge momentum.
20 seconds, and then we're going to have very short on time.
Yes, so a huge momentum, a huge capability. Now the key is we need more capacity. You need a huge power to sustain, and the challenge is how to get into capacity and sustainable power, and this is a big area that we all need to work on to make sure if you want to get AI, you need power, but you need mostly sustainable power. Thank you.
Well, Kamal mentioned there sovereign AI, which brings me back actually, Majid, to you, because you say Equinix, well, he says Equinix built you a data center 10 years ago.
An alliance agreement between
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and Equinix.
So
and some
I
of
guess
the-
it's working out quite well, or else he wouldn't be here today. So you guys have worked together on this and have done for a decade. But where does sovereign AI come into that, and how you work with a company like Equinix, which is an international company? Yeah, a question for you about sovereign AI, yes.
Yeah. So data sovereignty is, as highlighted by Kamel and some of the other colleagues and panelists today, data sovereignty is becoming an essential element of the ecosystem of the data, AI, and the foundation of the data center, right? So the data sovereignty that is supported by the cloud services and digital platform services that are being part of our strategy, as I've just highlighted, is supported by the vision and the strategy that we are building starting from the data center itself. Data center will provide the foundation, will provide the platform and the infrastructure that will host the multi-tenant sovereign cloud services in order for the data that is being analyzed all the way to produce the AI applications and advanced computing and technologies are within the regulations of the data sovereignty. Of course, data sovereignty is also one of the main drivers and requirements of the governments and the government's entities and the requirements in order for them to maintain the security and or the regulations that are required to analyze the data within the country and the boundaries of the country itself.
If I can turn, Meli, to you from Fortinet. When I think of Fortinet, I think cybersecurity.
Correct.
My word association is correct. So how has the boom in AI and the increasing workload on data centers, how has that impacted your world?
I think we are moving towards more convergence between cyber and physical worlds, as especially driven with 5G, the upcoming 6G. We will see a shift from, I think, centralized to decentralized environments. Data centers may go closer to the edge because augmented reality, autonomous vehicles, smart factories, industrial IoT, all these technologies will require low latency, fast processing of data closer to the edge, closer to the users, and so on. So that means the security also needs to follow suit, because without security, nothing will work. That's for sure. So I think it's very important, and that's since the beginning our vision was to create, as Fortinet, a convergent platform, meaning bringing networking and security functions together. So every touch point, every edge, whether it's your cloud, it's your branches, it's your remote users working in a cafe, doesn't matter, user devices, applications, everywhere you need to have built-in security capabilities, because one glitch in this big ecosystem will cause security incidents and break everything. Coming to your question around AI and how this is changing the way we do business, we are making a lot of investments since more than a decade now in terms of developing machine learning algorithms, deep learning algorithms, because if you think about it, we have more than 700,000 customers around the globe, and we ship more than half of the, let's say, next generation firewalls, from the smallest customers to the biggest telcos like Du. So that means we gather a lot of data. So it's like, in average, we gather 100 billion plus events per day to our cloud, Fortinet cloud, for analytics. We can't do this with human power, so we need help from the machines. But the critical thing is, especially with this decentralization that we see, with the edge computing and so on, it's not only enough to have a big data cloud platform that does this analytics and algorithms, runs trainings. You need to have these machine learning capabilities on-prem devices as well. So that means we are also we developed more than 40 plus different algorithms that runs on the customer premises, on the edges, that does their own specific job. It's like the human body. We have the brain and the other sensors and organs. So this is like, as I call it, what we call it, the federated AI kind of approach, meaning you have a brain, but you also need to be intelligent on the edges as well. Otherwise, it's very hard to catch up with the new trends, new evolving technologies. You need to detect something as quickly as possible, and you need to respond to it at the right time and at the right place. And this requires a lot of collaboration between technologies you position on premises, on the data centers, on the cloud. So it's like a teamwork. And it's not, to be honest, it's not just one vendor's job. We have a huge ecosystem of partners.
Meli, I'm going to have to jump in. We've got 1 minute and 52 seconds left. 10 seconds, final thought.
Okay. And this is not, as I said, not just one vendor job. We participate with more than 600 partners in the field. So it's like a universal ecosystem. The collaboration is the key here, I think.
Thank you very much indeed. Victor, a final thought from you. If you could leave the CTOs and the C-suite leaders in this room with one final thought, just 20 or 30 seconds on that. 20, 30 seconds.
It's a challenge. So today, the chain of the AI is like lead to the more power consumption of, like high density or like more power consumption. So we request like 2 points actually we need to focus from my side or from the vendor point of view. So first point will be focus on the cooling, like optimize the cooling technologies, before we move from the power consumption or heat from the data centers, from the rack. Now we move from the heat from the chip, right? So this is one of my focus from vendor point of view. Secondly is the time to the market, because now it's not allowed us to have a 2 to 3 years time to build a data center, deliver data center to the market. So it's completing to the business. So we need to have a more modularized or flexible construction way to deliver data centers in time, like 10 months. And this is already proved in Huawei in Malaysia, one cases.
Victor, thank you very much indeed. A final thought from the Equinix perspective, one final thought to leave the C-suite leaders with today when it comes to data centers.
I think in terms of AI, each and every company, organization must have an AI strategy or else they'll be left behind. In terms of data center, I think power is key. For us to succeed and become an AI economy, we need to make sure that we're providing power and sustainable power. Thank you.
16 seconds left. A final word from you, Majid. I'll give you 30 seconds.
It's all right.
Your prediction or your bold vision when it comes to data centers.
I would say very quickly, data centers are not anymore a facility that is passive and just waiting for the innovation and technologies to be hosted in it. It's not anymore a normal colo business. It's a solution. It's a technical solution full of innovation, be it from the cooling and like liquid cooling solutions to the power infrastructure to the GPUs that are being hosted in their GPUs as a service that are being provided through the data centers, the cloud and digital platform services that are provided through those smart data centers. Hence, in conclusion, data centers are becoming smarter, more efficient, and more secured. That's how the future of data centers will look like and being adopted by us and, of course, the global benchmarks.
Shukran jazeelan. Gentlemen, I'm so sorry to rush you, but we're up against the clock. I bet people have got loads more questions. Will you be around for the next hour or two to answer questions? Great stuff. If you've got some follow-ups, do please speak to our panelists. But for now, my thanks to you for being so concise today with your answers. Really appreciate it. To Majid Al-Nakbi of Do, to Victor Jen of Huawei, to Kamal Al-Tawil of Equinix, and also to Meli Kirkzog of Fortinet. Thanks very much indeed for that. And with that, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I shall return you to the very capable hands of today's MC, Jane. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard and gentlemen, for that panel. I hope you're all bearing with us. We have 2 more sessions left this afternoon, and I promise they are worth bearing with us and listening in too. So as we head into the penultimate session, we hope to bring you answers to unlocking AI potential here in the UAE. Now, as industries undergo transformation driven by artificial intelligence, one thing does become clear. AI's true potential lies in how we harness data at scale. To explain more in this session, we're honored to have Haider Aziz, Vice President and MD, Middle East, Turkey, Africa, Vast Data with us. Please put your hands together and give a big warm welcome for our next guest. Hiding.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thank you, Your Excellencies, for the support and for the event. Thank you, Du. Thank you, Dubai Digital Authority, for the amazing, groundbreaking event. It's actually, this coming in conjunction with what happened in the Atlantic, across the Atlantic in last 2 days. You see in the UAE leading the charge of AI, and let's celebrate all of us. You see His Highness Sheikh Mohammed was in the US to enforce the AI and make it happen. And UAE is a central of excellence of AI now. So further notice, I'm Haider Aziz. I'm the General Manager of Vast Data Middle East and Africa. So let's tell you a little bit where we are, who we are, and what Vast Data. Maybe you haven't heard of us. So we are a startup company. However, we are the fastest growing startup company on earth. So 3x is a growth over a year. 5.5x is a growth. It's only last year. And then if you look to the customers from Gartner, 100% recommended by the customers or the peers inside Gartner. Now, we start with a thought from OpenAI. So the OpenAI today, what said, it's all about the data set. Means it's not about the LLM mechanism, not about the mechanism who run the AI, not about the engine. It's all about the data. Like today, so we have a supercar, but we don't have the right fuel for that data. So what happened? The supercar will not performing. And that's where it is, how the data is important. As you hear from all presenters since morning, everybody was emphasized about the data and how we can treat this data. So IDC characteristic predicted it's a 90% of the data created for last 2 years, but only fraction of that data being used. And the question is here today, how much of your nation data is being ready to be harnessed for the AI innovation? Then IDC, again, sorry, the McKinsey and World Economic Forum, it was predicted 30% of all these companies who come into the AI today, they will be failing because of not the right infrastructure coming to the space. And that's important to have the right infrastructures and you have the right data being fed to the infrastructures. And that's where we are, you know. Now, so the data today, we are here to activate that data. We are here to help the organization like Du to move and will be part of the Sovereign Cloud and moving and Sovereign AI Cloud and moving on the data. So if you look historically how we grow up with the data we grow up with, the data was based on a raw, column, and tables. This is a historic data what we have in the past. And then, but with the wave of AI, we see that data, that kind of data start declining, and you see the titanic shift coming with unstructured data, which is data like of oil and gas data, healthcare data, telco data, and these are kind of data who actually the fuel to inject inside the AI engine and to aggregate, because the data who we know, the transactional data, you could have only one single event from that data, which is for the AI engine, is not required. Required more to get from this. And that's where you come up when you have the deep learning, machine learning, and that's where we see the value of unstructured data. From unstructured data, we could get as much as we can event to feed that engine. So within Vast Data here today, so we will treat, this is our what's called the data space. The data space where we can have the historic data, which is from generation of a protocol like what we have it, and we have the new era of data, which is in a protocol created by NVIDIA, like GPU direct storage, and that's all injected together with a transactional of the database, what we mentioned earlier, the transactional data, and then with that will give you the more visibility in your data and more a cleaning of your data to clean that fuel and inject it inside the engine. And that's what we call the data space. The data space where you have all these components in single platform, and multi-tenancy, zero trust, all flash. There are many of these features within a vast data platform to combine and contain all that data. As I mentioned, the data store, the database, and of course the data engine. That will touch in a data space, in an edge to cloud, single volume, single namespace where everybody be in the same pod to feed the engine. Now, if you look to this, where we started in history and where we are now, this is a secret source of vast data. The secret source of vast data is actually the disaggregated shared everything. This is where we see where we are in the market. Why we come to this market? We come to this market to address the old history of 20 years of technology to move forward with this. And then per IDC, the architecture of the future, which is because the share everything, it gives you the opportunity to get all the data in a single platform, and you have full access to your data engine. Now, again, let's see what the market's saying about us. And this here is, if you look Fabrice, so vast data management is the vision of the future. And then again, if you look to the silicon angle, so radically disclosing that's from the previous data platform. And that's what, again, why are they saying this? Because the world moving towards AI. So we need to be ready. As I said, we need to feed that supercar the clean and nice fuel for us to perform. Let me stop here a little bit, and you can hear it from the world leaders, technology leaders, like Jensen, Charles, Supermicro, NVIDIA, and so on. So please, I will encourage you all to register. So on this here, so on the 1st of October, we have the virtual event where you hear all these leaders talking about how they're utilizing vast data and how vast data platform helping them, to be on an AI. And that's where it is. So to build all together. So I will just pause a little bit for you guys to register. Right, let's move on. So let's move on a little bit to show where we are in the market and how we count our customers. So CareWeave is one of the largest GPU farm in North America, and it's all powered by vast data. How it works, so CareWeave is basically founded based on NVIDIA, vast data platform, and CareWeave secret source. And this based on zero trust infrastructure, multi-tenancy, and also helping a customer to be scaled as needed. Now, shifting gear to enterprise, OpenText. All of us knows what mean OpenText. And then vast data helping OpenText to protect and restore their data in 50% faster than nearest competitors in the market. 50% faster than data domain for Veritas, with, again, zero trust on the infrastructure. Now, if I move a bit forward in the market, so you'll find different flavor here from the healthcare. All of us, we know, genome. Everybody looking for genome. Everybody wants genome today. So vast helping the largest genome farm to have a 50% faster to generate pipeline on that genome, and also from the cost perspective. It's not always like, okay, I want to be faster, but that's going to affect me cost. No, we have a 50% faster, 70% lower cost on infrastructure. And this is actually from the customer things. Finally, so vast data being deployed over 20 exabytes across the globe. And this is just a flavor of customers. We deploy across here in the GCC, across the Atlantic, in Europe, and so on, and APJ. So if you look to this, 20 exabytes of vast data across a customer. And this is actually customer stretch between security, defense, media, healthcare, and space. Thank you very much for listening to me. I won't make it very short, because I know it's a long day. And again, we have the team here, so please find us. Again, thank you to Do, and looking forward to a great partnership.
Thank you so much, Haider. Now we have something very special for our last session. Someone who really knows the nuts and bolts of embracing AI in business. Last week, here in Dubai, I met on stage an AI wizard, but I think our next guest pips them to the post in terms of their job title. Here to talk about building unique Gen AI experiences that scale, please welcome to the stage Global Black Belt AI Director at Microsoft, Andrew McKay.
Well, they say everyone has something unique about them, something that sets them apart. It's just in my case, it's quite obvious what that thing is. I am literally filled with hot air. Yeah, living like this has its challenges. Windy days, for one, are particularly troublesome. Or there was the one time my girlfriend insisted I go to the cactus store to get my Uncle Jerry a wedding present. They say everyone has something unique about them. Something that sets them apart. Most about my predicament. It's just in my case, it's quite obvious what that thing is. I get to see the world differently. I float. I am above the mundane and the ordinary. I see things in different ways as everyone else. Challenges. And I feel like it's because of that perspective, particularly every day that life is fragile. Or there was the one time my girlfriend insisted I go to the cactus store to get my Uncle Jerry a wedding present. So I try to live life with a lightness, a buoyancy. What do I love most about my predicament? The perspective it gives me. I get to see the world differently. I float with any luck above the mundane and the ordinary. I see things a different way from everyone else. Yeah, and I feel like it's because of that perspective I'm reminded every day that life is fragile. We're all just a pinprick away from deflation. So I try to live life with a lightness, a buoyancy, a joie de vivre. I got a lot of ideas keeping this thing full. With any luck, I'll find a way to share them with everyone else.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew McKay, and it's my pleasure to have the very last session in the afternoon. And what I want to share with you today is a more practical approach to building AI applications. We heard the importance from the panel on data centers and AI infrastructure and what it takes to power them. We heard from Vast about data and the importance of data and all of that goodness that you need to take into account before you even think about building your Gen AI applications. No matter where you go, who you speak to on LinkedIn, social media, Gen AI or generative AI is everywhere. It's re-energizing the promise of technology, and it is transforming industries at a pace we never thought was possible. It's only been 7 or 8 months since OpenAI launched on the Azure platform. And in that time, me particularly have been working across Central Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and more concentrated here in the UAE, in the Middle East, and really working with customers to understand how they can activate generative AI solutions at scale. And I think that last piece is the most important thing, because they're very, very different on experimenting with technology, the normal behaviors to do a POC or an MVP, But the moment a CEO or a CTO or a CEO says, let's take this to production, let's make it useful for our citizens, for our employees, that's a different ballgame. And I want to share with you today my personal experience on where customers and governments and telcos and FSI are focusing their efforts for their AI investments, where are they getting the most ROI, and what are those capabilities that they're looking for. Over the last 7 months since I've been in this role, I've had the pleasure of working with governments across this Central Europe, Middle East, and Africa region, and a lot of them are investing in building their own capabilities when it comes to language models. This is important. So for example, here in the UAE and the rest of the Middle East, governments want to build their own LLMs, taking into account the local language, the local dialect, say, of the UAE, and also the culture. And we want the AI system or the Gen AI solution that we put out into the public to mimic the local culture, to behave in an inclusive and culturally appropriate manner, and not an LLM that is just built as a foundation model outside of the boundaries of the country. So that's one big focus for where generative AI is. But apart from the governments, FSI, telcos, and the other sectors in the industry, they seem to gravitate to these areas of success: automation, employee productivity or personal productivity, new customer engagements, call centers, any customer touch point, and new products and services. Lessons learned, from this is the number one question we get asked is, how do companies who are adopting this technology, how are they evolving? And it starts with the individual, with the employee experience. We want to make the employee experience more creative, more efficient, more productive, remove all the mundane activities, and bring joy back into the life of an employee. Because as an organization, people are still your most important asset, and the moment you drive that change with Gen AI solutions through your employee base, that is when you first experience the real tangible benefits, both from a behavior perspective and also from a commercial perspective. Finally, it's about bending the curve of innovation. So when you're sitting with your CFO, your board of directors, and you're trying to understand how much you should invest, what would be the ROI from this technology, you really want to start with the employees, your teams, automation of your business processes, and then think big when you want to bend the curve of innovation, not just for your company, your products and services, but from a government perspective, it's about bringing that benefit to the citizens of the country. And today what I want to share with you is, I've not personally worked with 53,000 people worldwide. That's from a Microsoft perspective. I want to share with you the learnings and patterns today, practical sort of things that you need to keep top of mind, whether you're a business leader, technical leader, or a developer that is engaging and building these solutions. And that's what I hope to share with you very quickly over the next 15 minutes. We did a quick study recently to understand, is AI useful? Right? For those of us that have been in this industry a long time, this is a difficult question to answer. And we commissioned the study across thousands of companies across the world, enterprises, and what we've realized is that for every dollar invested in AI or anything to do with AI, there's a $3.50 return on investment. And the other important factor is the realization of this investment is 14 months. For a traditional IT application to generate these numbers can take years, if at all. So what's driving this change with AI? Fundamentally, it's a platform shift. So when you are thinking of driving and designing your AI applications, your Gen AI applications, you need to think about the capabilities that you want to bring into the computer-human interaction. The very first one is the natural user interface. This is now an interface that you can text, speech, video, audio, both as inputs and outputs, multimodal, multi-tone. I'm sure all of you in this room have experienced that. Then we spoke about data from VAST, memory and context, personalized data for you as an employee, as a leader, along with the company knowledge that you have generated over decades, coming together to drive your Gen AI applications. And in the back, we have access to this reasoning and planning engine that can take complex context and complete complex tasks, reducing the cognitive overload on yourself, and therefore driving productivity. And this is where we see most of the investments going, and the return on investment also, as I mentioned. And from Microsoft perspective, when the partnership with OpenAI came to fruition, the first thing that we did is we want to put this on every desk of every employee for every workload, and we launched Copilot. Copilot is now accessible to many people in organizations, giving them that superhuman capability to be productive. I don't know about you, but I cannot imagine life without Copilot anymore. I get tons of emails, tons of presentations, tons of information, and I'm able to process that automatically with a simple prompt every day. What's in my inbox? Did my boss email me? What is a proper response? Conflict management in the corporate world is super important. The Copilot provides you all of these capabilities. And then on the developer side, we have Copilot Studio, where you can extend Microsoft Copilot and build next-gen conversational agents within your organization, the gravity well of automation. And last, on the developer, if you're a developer, you can come together and bring the complex foundation models, your data and security constructs, and develop Gen AI applications for your organization. Let's hear from our friends at Bayer Group.
Every single day, we are helping farmers on the fields, we are helping to cure diseases, and we are helping our consumers get healthier. We really want to be at the forefront of innovation. Microsoft Copilot gives our employees more power, more freedom to focus on our mission, health for all and hunger for none.
We actually experienced that the employees can get to their information faster in our journey of generative AI. We have over 700 use cases across all divisions and functions, so we really see a big impact.
Previously, it could easily take you days, if not weeks, to find that piece of information. Having the model store integrated into Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Copilot can immediately filter out models that are relevant.
Last week, I received an email with 5 attachments, 20 to 50 pages each. Then I asked Copilot, give me a summary, and the summary saved me 45 minutes.
It is great that we can leverage 150 years of data, making Gen AI a really great possibility for creating value.
That's just a quick example of a company that has taken Copilot, intentionally deployed it, improved the employee experience, and they ran a study and actually came up with the numbers I showed you earlier. But diving a little bit onto the pro code side. So you've got your Copilots, your employees are happy, and now you want to do more complex use cases. So you've got your AI developers, you've got your data specialists, you've got your technical team, your CDO leading that, or your chief information officer leading that. What does that team, including the business owners and budget owners, need to think about to ensure that the investment that you make in AI can hit the same ROI numbers that I showcased earlier? And there are 4 ways to do that. You need to think big and innovate. You need to differentiate your brand in the market. You need to be able to safeguard. We talked about security and safety earlier in the day, and the biggest blocker to getting Gen AI at scale so you can realize your return on investment is operationalizing it. Not just getting into production system, but also all the teams that surround it to come together and collaborate. I'll quickly focus and take us to the next 5 minutes on what each of these mean. There is no dearth of models. We announced ChatGPT 3.5, then 4, then 4.5, then Omni, or now Omni 1 is available. And the biggest challenge I see today with our customers when they talk to me is, Andrew, how can we get in ahead of this? Microsoft keeps releasing these models with OpenAI. How can I make sure that my technical strategy lines up and is ahead of this innovation, right? So that's a big challenge. And so what we want to do at Microsoft is make sure that as a customer, you have the flexibility, not just to use the OpenAI models, but any models that you have on Hugging Face, and also our own SLM models, right? Because at the end of the day, as good as the foundation language models are, they require a lot of compute. We heard about sustainable power and how much power GPU takes. That translates into a cost. Is that cost justifiable for the use case that you have? It might not be. You might not need it. So this is where the SLM comes into play. And from our platform and tooling, we want to give you that flexibility and help you be innovative by keeping ahead of the game. You're not locked into using a specific model, right? We want to be able to easily swap that out, and you want the tool set to do it for you automatically. Differentiate. We spoke about data. We are what we eat, and for Gen AI, data is fuel. But data is also becoming complex to manage. It's becoming multimodal. The velocity at which it is being generated, volume at which is also larger, even larger than before. How can we make sure that we bring the freshest data to the Gen AI solution so it doesn't hallucinate or provide wrong information to the citizens or employees that we are servicing or our customers? Again, within our, I'm just going to show a quick example of how this will work for you. Apologies, can you go back, please?
All right, let me ask the agent here.
Hey, Seth. How's it going? What can I help you with today?
I am fantastic. I'm sorry, I'm in such a hurry. I'm gonna go on an overnight camping hike where we're camping all this. It's gonna be dark, cold. Should I use these shoes? It's the mountains. It's probably gonna be cold.
Great, no worries. Let me take a look. Ah, those are the Trek Star hiking sandals. While they're fantastic for summer hikes and keeping your feet cool, they might not be the best choice for cold
Oh my goodness,
mountain
so, okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Pick the best thing that I should use, and can you just add it to my cart? Just one product.
No worries. Let's go with the Trek Ready hiking boots. They're durable, provide great ankle support, and most importantly, they'll keep your feet warm in the cold mountains. I'll add them to your cart now.
Oh,
ready for checkout?
I see that. Amazing. Muchísimas gracias. Espero que me vaya bien en el campamento.
De nada, Seth. Disfruta de tu campamento y mantente caliente con esas botas. Buena suerte y diviértate en las montañas.
A simple experience that takes advantage of all the Gen AI capabilities and a different way for a customer to interact with the computer. But for that solution to get into a production environment and be broadcast to millions of customers, safety becomes a key criteria for innovation, okay? We spoke about ethical AI earlier, so I'm not going to touch upon that. But within the tool set, we have specific AI security concerns baked into the tooling, so it's a first principle for innovation when you're designing your applications. Last but not least is operational challenges. How can I bring together all the stakeholders that I need to bring this Gen AI-powered solution that has real business value, real return on investment for me as an organization, as a government? How can I bring all those stakeholders together? LLM operations now becomes a critical component to enable all of this for you. So it is something for you to consider upfront when you are building and designing your Gen AI applications, because at the end of the day, if you do not think of these 4 factors, you will have Gen AI, but you will not have it at scale. You will hit roadblocks. And therefore, in Azure AI Studio, we're able to accomplish all of this. And last but not least, we are our biggest customers. We have built that solution with OpenAI, and we want to bring all of those learnings to you so that you can go faster to market with your Gen AI solutions and at scale. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Before we conclude our conference, I would like to thank you all for being a fantastic audience as we welcome back to the stage Jassim Alawadi, DO's Chief ICT Officer, for his closing remarks. Please put your hands together once again.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope that you are still charged up and some more energy to hit the traffic in the road, moving forward to your homes. First of all, it's a great moment. I am really honored to have all of you here. I hope that you had a very interesting day. I hope that the material that we had delivered to all of you makes sense and will provide you a lot of insights for your future plans, future journeys, whatever you are planning for. As we have said, transformation is key. Working in collaboration and building partnership ecosystem is key. That's why I would like to thank our partners that were with us in Envision 2024. Without you, this wouldn't happen. Without you, our distinguished guests, this wouldn't happen. I would like to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the food, you enjoyed the networking, you enjoyed the content. See you, inshallah, in Envision 2025. Maybe by that time you will have a robot that will greet you and that will present to you. A lot of excitement is happening in this space. But trust me, this year my presentation was not done by an AI, it was done by us and my marketing team. Thanks to everyone. I would like to thank the full teams. There is a huge army that made all of this happen. Last night, it was chaotic here. I was here until late night. I would like to thank DXB Live. I would like to thank our marketing team. I would like to thank our hosts. I would like to thank our partners, everyone who was involved in this great success, great moment. Inshallah, see you in Envision 2025. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you.